then I apologize. Sup, everybody? This is Karak with ACG, and I'm here with Silver, Reg, and Johnny for the Best Gaming Podcast number 513. We wanted to bring Reg back for the inaugural Lucky 13. We thought maybe
Makes
that's
sense.
what we'll do. Is that on the third? Whenever there's a 1-3, we'll bring you. Which, admittedly, there's only going to be one every 100 days, but whatever, or every 100 events. Thanks to, as always, to Johnny and Silver for holding up in the absence of Reg when he can't make it, which is most of the time, but sometimes I ask him to come on and talk on the weekends with us, discuss games. There's some hardware news I want to talk about, including the 5060. I was sending Reg this, but 5060 with 8 gigs, man.
Yep, I was asking if a 0 was missing in there.
Yeah, I saw you. I saw you go, is there a 0 missing there? Because 56, I mean, admittedly, I know somebody smart, obviously, is, and there's nothing wrong with this, is going to say something along the lines of like, you know, it is a 5060, but I still feel like that's pretty low. Like,
yeah,
these days, you know?
Dude, some old cards already had 16. Like when you look at it, some, you know.
I'm pretty sure my IPU
cards
in my mini PC has more than 8. Or maybe it's just got 8. No, I think they have 12, don't they? I can't remember, but yeah, pretty crazy.
Yeah, quite
Right?
a few had 12.
Yeah. It's nuts. Thanks to everybody joining in. What's up, Kig? Zaxby says can't stay because my mom's 70th birthday today, and I got a family coming in from all over the U.S. Just wanted to stop by and say hi to everybody. Have a good podcast, Karak, Johnny, Silver, and Reg. You too, man. Enjoy.
Perfect for your mother.
Hopefully your mom is up and spry at 70. I don't think I will be.
I was expecting a mom joke, but
there was actually a mom joke, but I curbed it because about 3 months ago we were in Discord. We were all having a really good time, and I made a mom joke, and I remembered as I was making it
the silence.
Somebody's mom, and I was like, nah, nah, nah. But hey, you know what? You got to make them. Apologize later. Apologize later.
It's a bit too early in the podcast.
Murder now, apologize after. Right? I think that's the general rule. Where the hell is that picture, Reg? Is that the Alps, man? Is that K2?
Yeah, that's from Switzerland.
Switzerland? Jesus Christ, that's amazing looking.
Wow.
Damn, wouldn't that be nice? Well, maybe it'll be a little cold, but I'd be okay with it. We're going to talk also about Switch 2 pre-orders. They are going to go live on what, the 24th, I think? And we're going to talk about, you know, if anybody here is actually going to get one or not, or if we're just all going to skip out on it. Speaking of that, are you guys getting it?
I already pre-ordered it.
Already pre-ordered it? Already pre-ordered it? What about you?
Actually pre-ordered one too.
Damn, really? So the question to Karak would be, Karak, I have a question for you. Are you 24th, huh? We'll have to see. 8-inch screens making me happy. They did remove the VRR from the notations. I think Oliver from Digital Foundry had posted that they had removed VRR from up to 120 VRR. So I was wondering what that, you know, do they just use VRR up to 60? Which, I mean,
that would be weird.
It would be weird, but maybe there's some limitation there, or they decided to remove it. But so we'll talk about that as well. I'm trailing. I'm in the hind tit on that because I'm the only one here who hasn't got it. Anybody in chat, did you guys order Switches? I guess that's the next question. If you guys jumped into Switches. I want to talk about 2.0 games lately, which is like every game releasing their sort of like re-releasing their game. Forgotten Lords is doing it.
Relaunches.
Lords of the Fallen.
Yeah.
Good job, Jeremy. You got it right for 6 months and you messed it up again. Yeah, Lords of the Fallen. They're doing a 2.0. So, but the big news is all the leaks about Oblivion. And I don't remember if you guys were Oblivion fans. Like, were you guys huge? No for Reg. What about you? No. Okay. What about you, Silver? Oblivion?
I liked Oblivion. I wouldn't call myself a huge fan, but I liked Oblivion quite a lot. Like, I don't know. I know a lot of people mentioned Shivering Isles as their favorite expansion, but mine was always Knights of the Nine.
Was it?
Yeah. Which has a really fun sort of ending quest boss fight where you're actually fighting it up in the sky over Tamriel.
Excellent. And Johnny, this is probably too soon for you.
Yeah, I never played it. By the time I started playing 3D games and stuff, this was a bit older, so I never got to it.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I want to say thanks to everybody for coming to the podcast. That's it. Nobody is interested.
So it starts
no, but I'm interested though.
And Sean Bean died again. Spoilers, but
And say what, Reg or Silver?
It also stars Sean Bean, which is another reason to love.
Oh, it
game.
does. It does, doesn't it?
Yeah, as Martin, and he spoiler, but he dies again in the game.
Dude, seriously, what are you doing?
Wow.
What are you
Can't
doing?
play the game now.
I can't play as Johnny just literally tells you he hasn't played. You're like, and by the way, the one Khajiit.
No, I mean Sean Bean
bad
dying is a bit of a staple at this point. So
Okay, true. Yeah, totally expected. Never mind.
It is totally expected. I'm excited for it. I think the graphical enhancements are what excites me. I saw people saying, "Oh, I can't believe it's not as colorful or as lit as the old game was," but that's sort of weird because the old game, the way they were doing the graphics back then, there was, I mean, almost every game was cartoony looking for a specific reason. There were like reasons why games look like that, especially with their lighting engines. I'm not at all bothered by what it looks like. I actually thought it looked really good. The Unreal Engine excites me because of mods too. I think mods would be fun on that. I mean, you know, Unreal mods versus Creation Engine mods. That means, I feel like it means the Unreal mods are going to go nuts because everybody knows Unreal who's modding for the most part. You know, Creation Engine is probably the number one, I would say, for like just generic mods that people throw together. But Unreal is insanely moddable. The idea of being able to jump in there and mod it. Then we're gonna have to see if it's scaled, because that was the big issue with Oblivion for me, was how the scaling was done. Yeah, sort of rough. I always modded that out.
Also just like the sheer number of gates you had to close. Like in the early hours of that game, and like up through the midsection, I would say, like the whole invading the Oblivion aspect was really fun and really engaging. And then it just started to be, oh, there's another gate. Oh,
Yeah.
there's another gate I need
There's
to close.
another,
Oh,
and
there's another gate I need to close. And you were just running through essentially kind of the same tile sets over and over and over again. And that started to get really, really tedious.
No, that's the game I remember.
Later.
That's Reg is like, oh, that's why I didn't like it. Oh,
Yeah, it's definitely why I didn't like it.
So, but when you look at it, I mean, is it something that you guys, like, even if you're not interested in the original Reg, are you going to get this?
No chance.
No, dude, that's emphatic.
Just.
What's with so why do you hate good people, Reg, and why do you want to see them all burn? What is it? They're stupid. What doesn't interest you? Everything? I mean,
everything. I mean, when I didn't like the original game one bit, why should I?
Damn. What about, okay, so, but you liked Skyrim.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, what the hell? I mean, I feel like they're not that different. Come on. They're different.
One sucked, one didn't.
Man, that's going to be a lot of Anchor comments. I can already tell, because that's where we get a lot of negative comments. They don't come in here. They'll go to Anchor and be like, "You're stupid." That's awesome, man. I was looking at the idea of the DLC, and the rumor is that the Knights of the Nine is going to be in there. Shivering Isles will be in there. I think that only makes sense. But I saw a note that says it's possible the voices and the acting have been re-recorded. So. You have a couple voice actors who are passed away, unfortunately. So they won't be able to be.
That's how old the game is.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was it? 2000?
I mean, 20 years.
Yeah, it's 20 years, right? Yeah. But I like the idea of re-recording the voice because it was older. The samples, I'm sure, are pretty low bit rate, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I saw some redesigns on stuff. I saw graphically it looked like they had touched it up when it comes to the models and stuff, which is nice. It's not like a remaster. And I'm going to roll from this into Fallout because that was also on this list of remaster remakes where this one has turned out to be true. Then I saw some.
Is whether they'll include the horse DLC.
Yeah, microtransactions, right? Yeah, the horse armor. What if the first thing you get, or what if like at the starting of the game, a guy on a big horse comes up and you're like, that is amazing armor. And he's like, yeah, it costs blah, blah, blah down at the store. You can just go get it. You know what though? I appreciate you just being here. Here's my horse armor. And you're like, whoa, they gave it to me for free. Do a little in-game joke. It won't happen. Then there were some notes about enhanced AI and stuff like that, which would be really nice because, I mean,
I think in general, gameplay systems and stuff kind of have to be
touched up,
revisited. Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that the game you guys talked about, the leveling system?
The scaling. Yeah, I said it earlier. The scaling. You're right. Yeah. Yeah. It was bad. It was, Johnny, right. It was so weird, man. It just didn't ever feel right. Like the goblin was like one level goblin, and then somehow the little pork sticking bastard would be a 50th
They
level
are
goblin.
training in the background.
Yeah,
Next
yeah.
time
There
you
was a
see him-
montage, and they're like, everyone is awesome, just doing benches and shit. So I think that's
'Cause-
pretty cool that they'll be doing.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but you level up by doing stuff, right? So if you're like using a skill all the time or something, you
Is
would
that how Oblivion worked, Silver?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah,
so you
I
could
guess so.
find yourself maybe where like the game out levels you in a weird way if you
No,
do-
the enemies.
No,
the
no.
enemies did this.
Always- Okay.
They were always like really close
Gotcha.
to you. Yeah. Which is, I mean,
I mean,
that's
there
just
were
the way it is.
definite. I would say, like low level, there were definitely still areas where you could struggle if you went there too early, and there were definitely enemies. Like there were like level gates where when you hit a certain level, you would see a different type of enemy, maybe.
Yeah.
And then when that transition happened, where a more powerful enemy appeared, that
Yeah.
enemy could initially present a significant difficulty spike. Until you then started leveling through that difficulty tier, as it were. And then you hit another difficulty tier that then would introduce another new set of enemies. And so there was a sort of sense of difficulty progression in that way, from what I remember. But that was really about it for that system.
We got some awesome comments. John D. Gaff says, yeah, you could walk around and jump constantly and it would level your agility, which I do remember. B1G Duck says, yeah, you could crouch in a cave by enemies to buff your stealth, then go AFK and just let it buff the entire time. There's one particular mission in that game that has you sneak behind somebody, and I got lucky enough to level up right when I did, and that's when I realized that's how that game worked. Because I couldn't even remember until now when he said the stealth, but that is how it works. Because I remember sneaking behind this guy's chair for like an hour, just like, pretty soon you're a master ninja. They're saying in 3 days. Yeah, that's the rumor. We'll just have to see, right? Who really knows? But it'll be exciting no matter what. What's up, Sleeve? Robert's here. Bevy Bev is here. Gaming with Passion here. Darkborn. Dave Wilson Zaxby is on his way out. Steven Savage. Thank you, everybody. Thomas Kell. Appreciate you guys all showing up. And appreciate the guys on Telegram. We have a Telegram following. Do you guys ever use Telegram?
Damn.
Probably not, unless you're Russian
all the
military.
time.
Oh, do you use it?
Yeah.
I don't want to ask why.
It's very, very normal here. Everyone uses it.
Is it normal there? Okay. It's only becoming normalized here for me recently, and I realized that like it is a place where a shit ton of fans actually are. I mean, it was awesome. What's up, Kasirs? Yeah. Dude, it's been awesome for the channel. It's actually been a huge, especially when you look at like Twitter and stuff, people moving. Somebody's mad at Twitter, so they go to Blue Sky, but then tell everybody they're going to Blue Sky, so everybody who's a dick goes to Blue Sky. And you're like, well, that's a good way of doing it, you know? So Telegram's weird, and I always feel like I'm one step away from the dark web at any moment in that place.
Yeah.
But
I'm getting added to like Bitcoin groups on a weekly basis on that.
Yeah, just
Really?
allow access
No.
to your executable. Suddenly
Exactly.
you're
Yeah,
always
nothing.
idling at 80%. Well, I'll have to ask Reg on how to do everything in there. But yeah, I've been jumping in for a while, so it's been fun. Also, thanks to the big showing on Spotify, Anchor, and iTunes last week. It was awesome. I appreciate you guys jumping in and listen after the fact. We try to get those up for patrons, ad-free, as well as some more ad-free stuff is coming. Also, once again, we didn't really get shouted out last week, but I do want to shout it out one time this week. Thanks to the YouTube squad that we put together in our Discord who's helping me with the future. And it's actually been a huge stress reliever. You know, some of the people you probably expect, you know, Silver's on there, those guys are on there, but there's some people throughout the last couple years who've been helping me with everything from server stuff behind the scenes to just some idea generation and stuff. And it's been awesome recently. Huge stress reliever, especially when I feel like I'm right now, other than obviously you guys on Fridays, I feel like I'm consistently the only person who's working alone. It's like every time I talk to another YouTuber, I'm all blah, blah, blah. And they're like, no, I send that to my editor. I send it to my script writer. I send it to my...
That's very normal.
Yeah,
No.
dude, even a really small YouTuber, they have like 30,000 subscribers.
Everybody has a team now.
Yeah, I was like, hey, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, I don't write my own script. They do the script. And I was like, well, what the fuck? What do you do? And he's like, I give them notes and they write the script. And then they do the editing and DaVinci or whatever. And I was like, Jesus Christ. So what I've done is basically got together some amazing people in our Discord, and honestly can't thank you guys enough. Obviously you guys as well. All you guys are on the list anyway, but you were grandfathered in, not because of ability, but just because I felt
or
bad.
any demonstration of value
whatsoever, but mostly
winning is winning.
Winning, no shit, right? No one cares in a week how you got the gold as long as you got it, baby. Love the game's $2 super chat. I just started playing Oblivion last week. Hell yeah. So now, is that going to stop you? Is that going to stop you?
It's an awkward moment.
Replaying? Yeah, it's an awkward moment. I never thought about that until he. So what are you going to do? Are you going to play it a little bit, love the games, then you're going to turn around and buy it again and play it, or well, not buy it because it's Game Pass. See, that's the thing. That's the gift that keeps on giving, man.
That's cool, man.
Except no sores on your junk, just all the good stuff. Dude, it's awesome, man. I mean, Game Pass, somebody just basically jumps in there and they're able to play that. Vapor for Blood says Karak secretly a Russian agent. Dude, secretly? I mean, just saying.
But do you guys think the timeline is realistic? Because the rumors were it's dropping like this month.
I mean, it could be. It could be that they've just managed to keep it under wraps. So yeah, it could be.
It's a big one.
And the leak was real in the fact that it was from their own website. And it had trailers and pictures and video. Yeah, that was as legit as you could possibly be. I will say shadow drops are I don't know. What do you guys think? I'm not a fan of shadow drops. I don't think they help anybody other than the fans of that game. If that makes sense. Like if it's a shadow drop like this where it's a remake versus, let's say, hey, we're gonna have a couple trailers, but that's just me. Do you guys think a shadow drop helps or hinders when it comes to a game, especially like Oblivion?
That's a difficult question to answer. I think for a shadow drop to be good or successful, it has to be for a franchise that already has an entrenched fan base, first of all.
So you think it's almost smarter if you're going to do it this way?
I mean, certainly, if you don't have an entrenched fan base or a known franchise, I don't understand why would shadow ban, because I think, or not shadow ban, sorry, shadow release.
He's letting his evil get out. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Because I mean, what it does, to my mind, is it generates potentially an initial burst of excitement and buzz.
Mm-hmm.
Where, oh my god, it's actually out. This thing is out, and then you get that excitement around that release. That's what it can do potentially. And I think for that to happen, you need that entrenched fan base that can actually drum up that buzz and drum up that excitement. Whereas if it's an unknown and it's an original IP that you launch in that way, well then, I think that's going to be that much harder.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Yeah, I don't know, man. I just feel like with shadow drops, like we saw, technically, the Hi-Fi Rush was a shadow drop, technically. So that was a game that was basically unknown and shadow dropped, and they said it did well in the interaction or people who played it, but you never quite know what that means, right? Like, did it do well? Yeah. Would it have done weller if you agree with Silver, which I actually do.
I really believe it would have done better.
I do too. I think PR. Silver's right. I think that more PR for those, but then the shadow drop of a game that's like Oblivion, you can do that if you want.
Yeah, but don't you feel that with Oblivion, if you start talking about it, hyping it up, you maybe show some of the process behind the scenes, get people excited, drum up some old memes about it.
I do, but maybe, I don't know. Silver was going to say something. I'll answer after that. Go ahead, Silver.
One of the questions for me, I look at a game like Helldivers 2, and I wonder what that game would have, the release of that game, which was massively successful and a massive sort of word-of-mouth buzz hit, how that would have looked if the game had been a shadow drop, because it wasn't. Because it was sort of, I mean, it was announced beforehand, and there were a lot of people who were part of the very small sort of Helldivers community around the first Helldivers that were already massively hyped for that game and looking forward to it, and got it at release. And then they were sort of the ambassadors of that game, the ones who really got all the memes and the TikToks, like 10-second video game play blurbs going on the internet and all that. And then that word of mouth spread and really kicked the game's sales off. So I do wonder what that would have looked like had it just shadow dropped, where all of a sudden it had been like, oh, we just have Helldivers 2 now. and whether that could have given even more publicity for it, or whether that would have actually hurt it. And that's, I think, a really difficult, that to me is one that is sort of impossible to answer.
Yeah.
To me.
No, I get it. I actually, I guess maybe they're also just really tired of the overindulgent and the
overexposure
and the overexposure, and maybe they're just like, dude, let's just release this thing on its own and not have to deal with 1,001 people being like, we need to talk. What's up with? What's wrong with? What's the problem with? What's the fucking blah blah blah? I mean, today I saw it where somebody, it was an article, and they stated something along the lines of, now that I've seen the leaks, I absolutely don't want Oblivion to release. And I was like, wow. That's exactly the kind of person that I want to be around. That's the type of person that during Christmas you overfeed so they fall asleep from carbs, because you can't stand how, I'm not lying, man. When I hear, I absolutely don't want it to release. You're like, dude, what a canker sore, man. Thanos Gaming, $5 super chat. Love the podcast. Speaking on behalf of all Canadians, we'd love to see you guys eat golden glizzies on stream.
Oh God.
First of all, sounds so wrong. It always sounds wrong. It always sounds like you're part of a P. Diddy video that leaks onto the dark web and then gets into Telegram. Somebody blackmails you with it. It's suddenly deep fakes. But that is a cookie, right? Isn't that what we talked about? Like a cookie or a cracker or something, somebody said? I think that's what it is. It's either that or it's absolute DMT, and he just wants to see us all get fucking high as hell on a podcast. And I mean, how do you know we're not all on DMT right now?
True.
How do you know this is real? And we don't know it's real. This is my real studio, and Reg is really in the Alps. So
what if none of it was ever real?
What if none of it was ever real? Dude, it's just all a simulation on an Apple IIe all the way down.
What even is reality anyway?
It's even simulated my follicle evolution.
Dude, you show up, Bohawk, hanging down the front like a 1980s rocker, singing like Flock of Seagulls songs. I ran so far away. Love the games. 97, $2 super chat, $2 towards the Golden Glizzy campaign. Okay, well, there we go. Anyway,
I mean, it could be worse. It could be poutine, I guess. So,
I don't know. I never tried it.
Yeah, you guys are all more eclectic than I am. I'll allow you guys to try it if you want. I'll allow you to. But by allowing you to and being open to allowing you to, that means I don't have to.
How magnanimous.
And I am. Yeah. And I appreciate you picking up on the fact that I am, Finally, after all this time. Jeez, John. Yeah, after all this time. Humph. Okay, moving on from there. Balancing community expectations with nostalgia was something that I was asked about in Discord. They were just like, if you guys could talk about that. I think we just covered a little bit of it. The shadow drop is community expectations, mods. I honestly, guys, I'm just going to say, as a big fan of those old games, they don't play well anymore. So my expectation is better now, like versus my nostalgia. I'm okay with admitting that game has aged, like rotten hamburger. I mean, it's okay. Needs to be updated.
We've all played enough older games to remember that they're not as good as some people seem to think sometimes.
Most of the time.
A lot of times. Yeah.
A lot of times. Let's see. What else were we asked about? AI we covered. Environmental effects, weather, particles. It sounds like they're redoing the entire weather system. I think that would be really exciting to see. Honestly, all I really want to see of this is that it plays slicker, maybe like a Starfield with the gun. The gun aiming and stuff in Starfield was good. Up close combat was better in Starfield than it's been in some games, but it wasn't great. But I would like to see that improved. Spell casting,
character models, because let's be real, the originals,
moon face, glow in the dark heads, they all look like they have AI lighting on their faces. You're just like, dude, all that kind of stuff.
It isn't like the creepiness of the #1 fan model has sort of became internet
synonymous, right?
Sensation.
Showed up even in Starfield, I love the idea of re-recording the voices too. I actually think that's cool. But I did want to mention something because this will come up. Jeremy Soule, the composer has been kicked out of the world Like, I don't know what mountain he's living on, but because of the issues that happen in behind the scenes at the company, and then his failed Kickstarter where he didn't deliver all of, the Kickstarter, all that kind of stuff, he sort of disappeared. I wonder what the difficulty of getting that soundtrack back would be. Like, how you would go about that. I mean, I guess in the end, maybe it's some extra money for him and wherever he is on some island somewhere, accepting nothing but fucking smoke signals and telegrams to get his to get his mail, because I haven't heard, I don't know, word one about that guy in ages, and he wrote some amazing soundtracks. Some of my favorite soundtracks are his. So, but that moves us on to actually a more exciting bit. If this turns out to be real, then most likely I'm gonna read this super chat is what I'm gonna do most likely. Love the games, $5 super chat. What's the best example? What is the best example had of, I love this game so much until I replayed. The Last of Us 2 was my favorite until I replayed it. What is the best example? What is the best example? Okay, I get what he's saying. What's the best example of a game that you thought this game is so great until you replayed it?
Yeah. I see. Yep.
Okay. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 1. That's my answer. I continued to play it for a long time and loved it, and then stopped playing it and went back to it and was like, your time has passed, my friend. Your time has passed. What's a game you guys have returned to and you're like, wow?
Well, the only one I can think of that I ever tried that with and was like exactly wow was Anarchy Online.
Ooh, Anarchy Online was rough day one, let alone day 9,001. How long did you get through it?
I have no idea how they imagined that anything in the UI worked or in any of the inputs.
Did you have a save game, by the way, or a character still? Did you have your old character?
I think I did.
Oh, that'd be even rougher.
I mean, it's years and years ago by now, but yeah, I vividly remember installing that game again, launching it, and I'm like, what?
What is this?
How could I ever play this? What's going on here?
Because Anarchy Online, correct me if I'm wrong, was one of the first big ones after WoW, right? Anarchy Online was pretty...
that was way before WoW.
Was it before WoW?
It's super old.
Damn! I'm surprised you went back to that. Was that like just curiosity that caused you to go back?
It was like, I liked that game back then, at least. That's what I remembered. Then I tried it again. I was like,
Johnny Silver, do you guys have one that you've returned
to? I had one of these where I jumped back to play Final Fantasy IX again. And, I mean, the game is great, right? But in my mind, I remembered it in HD. And then you go in there, and the cutscenes don't have voices. They didn't have the tech yet to have like cutscenes with actual like voice acting and stuff.
Yeah.
So it was all like silent, no voice acting. Yeah. It was 3/4 or 4/3, whatever it's called, the aspect ratio.
Mm-hmm.
And I think now, there's a mod where you can play it in slightly better textures and stuff. But yeah, it was pretty rough.
But it wasn't for you. It wasn't for you. What about you, Silver?
I don't have one that immediately pops off. I mean, there's been quite a few.
Have you gone back to like a? Have you gone back to World or Warhammer like 1? The fucking what?
No, I haven't gone back to Warhammer 1 or Warhammer 2. From Warhammer 3.
Because I bet you those would feel pretty crusty, especially 1. Like to me, that would.
I think 1 probably would. I mean, a lot of people actually still swear to Warhammer 1. Warhammer 2, rather.
Warhammer 2, yeah.
Over 3.
Yeah, I've seen that as well.
That one will probably have aged a little better. But there's just so much more content for 3 that's the one I'm still sticking to.
Yeah. And it'll go on forever.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't have one that immediately pops up as a memory, but it's certainly an experience I've had plenty of times.
Our green
game, Rome. Sorry, one game that Silver used to talk about. That.
What is it?
Yeah, I mean, no, I didn't dislike Rome when I returned to it. I still enjoyed it quite a bit. Rome 2, Total War. Actually, that was the inverse, where at launch that game was unstable as hell, buggy as hell.
Oh, but then got better, huh?
and then sort of got fixed with the free Imperial edition later on.
That's pretty sweet. Super chat. R Green, $5 super chat. UK media was going batshit. I says batshit over No Mercy on Steam and is now banned. I believe he's not saying UK media was banned, because that would be awesome. But No Mercy was banned from Steam. Did you hear about it? You guys' thoughts on a similar so-called games? Now, I think No Mercy was the really weird, like, you're a man chasing down women, making them fear for their lives game. But it was like adult too.
Whoa.
Did you guys see anything about this? It popped up in my news a couple times, but it felt like it was one of those games that we've talked about in the past where you're like, you know, it was sort of aiming for a particular thing, and I didn't really jump at it.
I haven't seen anything on it.
Steam rarely bans games though. So if Steam's banning the game, I feel like
they have some gnarly stuff on there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I feel like overall, if Steam's banning your game, you've got through so many layers of hentai shit. I remember that one time we were looking up a game that had a pretty normal name, and it's just a chick's hands around a throbbing pee-pee, and I was like, what? That's just in here? What in the hell is that? So, for whatever reason, they banned it. I'm okay with banning particular games. I can't say about that one if they're like crazy. But again, I think Steam has I'm not a Steam lover, and I think they've got a pretty good track record for what they ban.
Yeah, they're very liberal.
I feel like they don't ban most stuff. Northern Berserker CA, $7 super chat says, does Silver have any interest in Norse history, being from the land of the Danes?
Yeah, of course I do. I mean, I don't think I have as much interest as probably some people on the outside do, because it's kind of what I grew up with to a large extent. I mean, a lot of my public schooling was like the Icelandic sagas and the Eddas and whatnot. So we sort of grew up on that. So that's already sort of baked in. It's not really something that after we graduate from school, we then go out and seek out. We tend to, at least I tended to more seek out other external stuff more. But certainly, Norse sagas and mythology was an interest, and is still an inherent interest of mine, for sure.
I think it would be in a better answer if you're like, no, I was born here. I know everything. I have no interest in history. like an American in those YouTube videos where they'll come up, they'll be like, can you name 50 states?
I mean, what you have to understand about Norse mythology is that for a lot of it, we just don't know.
Oh,
because really, the only written source we have is from a Christian writer.
You mean I can't trust the TV shows blindly?
Who basically took a lot of oral legends and put them down. And at that point, there were oral legends that had been passed down through hundreds of years and had then changed multiple times as well over time. So gods that had maybe had one pantheon suddenly took on another and shifted around, and two gods fused together, so two gods maybe became one and whatnot. And there was constant evolution as people told these stories and relayed them and tried to sort of impart lessons. So there's an inherent untrustworthiness there compared to something like even Greek mythology, where you have Homer and the Iliad and whatnot, that's written down. Very little in Norse mythology was ever written down. It was always sort of orally conveyed. And that presents a huge sort of reliability issue or a continuity issue for mythology scholars later on.
Gotcha. Wizard of Smoke says, I love Danish history, especially cheese Danuses. Okay. Good jokes. Here we go. Leave it up to Wizard. What I was going to say back then was we were talking about Oblivion being remade, but on the list of other remakes was Fallout 3 in particular, I believe, right? 3. Regardless, how would you guys look? Would you look fondly on a Fallout remake? Would you guys return to, let's say, Fallout 3? Does that interest you, returning to that world? Or were you Fallout fans at all?
I mean, I like Fallout generally, but I don't know. Wasn't that one of those from the time that everything was green and gray and that's
it? Yeah, definitely. 3 was brown and green. That was the joke. 3 was a brown simulator.
So, I don't know.
Needs a little female touch.
Would need quite a bit of a lift.
I mean, to be fair, Fallout 1 and 2, the isometric ones were fairly brown as well.
They were.
frankly.
They were. Yeah. The color scheme back then was pretty
Unless
muted.
you add the red of your enemies.
Yep.
Okay.
Unless you were covered in their blood. I would love to see both of those get remade, especially because I think, in all honesty, if you look at a Bethesda, they're too busy making, they're like Elder Scrolls. They're doing their premier games. So it's like the only way you're going to, let's say, be able to jump back is mods, which is one thing. The next thing would be a remake. And at least they're not like The Last of Us.
I mean, remasters as well, potentially.
I mean, yeah. The Last of Us is remaking their remakes. Like, at some
Yeah.
point,
Yeah.
Sony is
And bundling them together as a new
bundling them together
remaster
as a
remake.
new one. Dude, it's nuts. It's nuts.
Yep.
I'm sure there's some
Yeah.
diehard Sony fans who are just clutching that to their chest, being like, I will not feel bad. I will not be angry about this. But it's like, dude, that's nuts. I mean, even if you're a really big fan, it doesn't matter what company I like. If I saw a company do that, I'd be like,
basically their Skyrim. At least they're treating it like that.
it is. Yeah. Yeah. Days Gone got a remake or remaster that you can't even tell. So, they added like a mode and we're like, here's a brand new version. So,
Yeah, I'll take your word for it. That you.
yeah. It's one of those
Touched
ones
on it.
where, in all honesty, if you put both of them up on the same screen, side by side, put a split screen, I guarantee you it'd be difficult, especially at a normal view distance, to be able to go, that's exactly, that's the upgrade on that game. On The Last of Us, obviously, the upgrade was more noticeable. The first one, we're on the fifth or something, it feels like, but yeah.
Hard to keep track.
Horizon Zero Dawn's already had one, right? I'm pretty sure Horizon's, dude.
The original had one, yeah.
That is absolutely crazy.
And it looked excellent. So I was happy with that. It's just that the games already look so good.
Yeah, I was happy with it originally. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought
It's
those
cool
were
to
just
see
great.
though, especially for PC, if you pick it up now, it's in a great state to play.
Which one? The original or the remake?
The remaster.
Oh, okay. Because I think the original
I
still
think you
plays
can't
well.
even get the original anymore.
I own it,
because
but you probably can't buy it,
delisted.
right? Yeah, that's the other
Right.
thing Sony loves to do, delist the old one. You're like, oh, come on.
Right.
Wizard of Smoke, $5 super chat. Happy Friday. Good to see Reg and Silver. I would love Fallout 1 and 2 remade into the current FPS style. Sorry for the bad dad joke. No, that's fine, and I would agree with that. That would be awesome to see them try it. And imagine the sheer anarchy, the fans, those diehard isometric
There would
fans.
be a number of people who would not like that.
I would
for sure.
love the guys who love to watch their games via drone vision, like they're circling over top of somebody like the U.S. Special Forces.
I mean, it would be the release of Fallout 3 all over again.
It would
True.
remember that. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I can't believe this. Arr.
By the way, fuck Johnny, right? Great to see Reg and Silver. Fuck Johnny.
I mean, I feel like you have it coming, right? Like
I see
feel,
you, bro. I see you.
I feel like it explains itself. Just saying. That's what it said. Don't get, but yeah, I would love to see a remake of those. I just to have people just absolutely lose their minds. I would love to see an isometric remake though too. If they remade 1 and 2 because I enjoyed Wasteland 3, which it had its
For sure.
bugs and issues. I mean, you and Reg ran into every single one of them known to man.
Every bug possible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
never finished it because it always broke in some way.
And I don't
That's
think it's
the
been
other
fixed.
thing too with like Fallout
No.
games. Some of the older ones, even New Vegas, which is more recent, they basically implode the moment you boot them up.
Yeah.
Like I booted up New Vegas and it legit in the first segment crashed without any mods or anything. So
Yeah, I think that's one of the things with the older Bethesda games. I'm not saying the new ones are a great deal better, but I certainly do feel that, like, especially when you look at like how Starfield arrived, it's in a damn sight better than their prior games were. I feel like whenever I boot up one of their old games, even without mods, it's like a bad patch on a tire, and you're just trying to get home. And that thing is just always threatening to blow out on the interstate at 50 miles an hour.
you're like going shy.
Dude,
on
have
the
you
accelerator.
ever have you done that, Johnny, where you purposely will treat the game nice? Like you'll see a bunch of enemies and you're like, oh, I don't know, should I go in there? And it's not, it has nothing to do with the AI. It has to do with you not wanting the game to crash. Yeah, you'll be like, I'm gonna lead one guy over here because I don't think this game can handle 6 dudes.
So
I don't think this can handle 6 dudes.
It can render it.
Yeah, I mean, it just at some point it feels like you do have to candy ass some of those, just to stop them from crashing. So a remake would be nice, and as long as they're not like Skyrim Special Edition, which was trash for the longest period of time.
I've just had enough remakes at this point.
Yeah, so have I.
If anything, I would prefer.
We can always do another one.
Masters, and then you do something new.
See, that's interesting because I think I'm with you on. I'd rather new, but of course, some of these teams are only port teams. They're not big enough to do a full. But I don't know what it is. The remasters are bothering me. So, like, I want the remakes.
So,
maybe it's because I got burned on a couple remasters. I don't know.
Maybe, like, for me, the remaster is a way to sort of re-update the game to where it doesn't crash when I launch it 10 seconds in. And I can still play sort of
the
original.
You would hope.
Yeah, you would hope.
You would hope. Yeah. I guess when it comes down to it, it's like, no matter what, I'm happy to see them be done, but I do want to see Elder Scrolls 16 or whatever the fuck we're on. Like, I don't even know, because it's like Daggerfall. I don't know what even this number would be, but whatever they're going to call it, I'm sure they're going to give it a tagline. I would, for sure, rather see a new one. I mean,
it's 6, right?
I think it is 6. I do think it is 6, yeah. On the other hand, the reason why I'm pretty open to a remake of Fallout Silver is simply because they've made it pretty clear that Fallout is after Elder Scrolls 6, meaning it's going to be a long time. So I do like Fallout. So jumping in even to a remake makes me
happy. We could easily get smaller Fallout games set, like smaller offshoots Fallout games set in the Fallout universe that are original. It doesn't have to be a full-on, like, epic open world Fallout game. You could make a lot of different style games set in that universe, like, say, the vault managing like mobile game they made.
I don't think it's exactly one for one, meaning that if they're gonna do a remake, they're not gonna do one of those. I do see what you're saying, even though I wasn't a huge fan of what was that called? Fallout Shelter, right? Isn't that what that one's called?
Yeah,
but
something like that.
Yeah, you could do, or you could do something like Avowed, where Avowed was more Outer World style, but it was it wasn't that. So maybe just but I just don't know if companies are doing that right now. Now with
or do a retro isometric Fallout game.
Where we are now, it could definitely happen more often. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I could see that. Hopefully I don't know one for the other, and that it wouldn't be a if and. But Wizard of Smoke, Karak, I know you want that New Vegas remaster. Oh yeah, he's been in the chat before. Whenever anybody brings up New Vegas, I'm like, just fucking knock it off. Yeah, I mean, dude, whatever. I'm happy to see the people making, some of these remakes that are older. I would love to see Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remade, though. Yeah, I feel like that project is
dead.
Dude, and not only dead, but the person is on top of it holding its head underwater on the beach and just making sure it's dead.
Doing about as well as the Splinter Cell remake.
Yeah, right. Or Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Why is it so difficult, do you think, the Star Wars one? Is it like license related or more so the execution?
I bet you they're worried about... So you guys can, of course, completely disagree. I didn't mind the combat. The way the combat was set up was a buffer system. You could sort of not roulette wheel, but you had a dial. You could pick 3 moves, and those 3 moves would automatically be done, and then it would clear out again. So you could jump to another guy, but this guy was doing your stuff. People didn't love it. I liked it. I think a lot of it is their ability to try to figure out what to bring into the future and what not. Do you go full real time or do you go pause with real time? But the other, honestly, it's Aspire as the developer. And they apparently, if you look at their history, have a problem delivering titles. That's just, there's nothing, that's not me talking out of pocket because I don't know anybody there and I don't, like aim any ill will at them. I will tease, but it does feel like that was the one company that when they announced it, I remember even in here when they announced it, we were like, oh no. They just don't have, it's not like Night Dive Night Dive is that company where if somebody announces
churning.
Night Dive is doing it, they're churning it out. Yeah, I don't know what that guy's doing. When he was on the podcast, even trying to talk to him about like how often they like, because it feels like they are able to really, they've got it dialed down. And I mean, I remember back, we had just started the podcast when they announced one of them, and they got, I think it was a Kickstarter, but it went bad, or they decided to go back and redo something. And I did a video saying, I don't know why people are all upset. If it wasn't working out, it wasn't working out. They're going to continue making something. And that's how we got in touch with each other, was because he had seen the video. And now that I talked to him, it's obvious that that was just growing pains, right? So maybe Aspire has the same growing pains, and we'll see. I mean, they've been growing for 25 years, but whatever. I mean, sometimes puberty lasts a long time. Maybe they hit it late. I don't know. I would love to see that one. Moving on from there. So those are the remakes. That's the basic stuff that we got out of that. Switch 2, I do want to talk about just for a second. When you guys buy a Switch 2, is the first thing you're going to buy a game? Let's say you get a game with the system, whatever, or is it going to be something like a cosmetic thing, like a Satisfy controller, to make it more comfortable to hold?
I definitely went with the Mario Kart bundle.
You went with Mario Kart bundle.
Yep.
Do you like Mario Kart, or was it just to save $30 on the game? Okay. All right. What about you, Johnny?
It's a combo. It's
a combo of the two.
Saving $30, so ouch on the price increase yet again. But I also like Mario Kart, so.
Oh, okay. All right. What about you, Johnny?
So for me, I went for the same pack. And I've never played Mario Kart, so I don't know, but I've loved a lot of these arcadey racers. We've talked about Blur and a couple others in the past.
Ooh, yeah, Blur.
I've
wow.
enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a bit more of a,
Yeah, it's a side pocket, but I'll allow it. Yeah, that's all right.
So the idea of like, I guess a AAA arcadey racer like that interests me.
Okay.
And I think that also it might be a good opportunity for people in the Discord coming together to play that. It might be a really good one too. So I'm quite excited to play it and to try it out. But for me, I'm not gonna buy any accessories day one. My plan is to play mostly docked, actually.
Oh, okay.
Because I do have one of those Pro controllers from the Switch 1.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. I don't have any issues with that. I think I'm gonna use that mostly and play docked for quite a lot of my time.
Okay, that's fair. What about you, Silver?
Will they be
good.
backwards compatible? The Switch 1 Pro controllers?
I believe so.
Yeah, as far as I've heard, yes.
You just don't have the magnificent C button.
The C button.
Well, you don't have the backwards buttons either.
That too. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't have those, but let's be real, like Nintendo games are not the most mechanically demanding games to the point where you need extra paddles. Like some games only use 2 bumpers.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. They are kiddie games. You are right, Johnny, and you saying that people who play Nintendo
all.
games are
we should say
you are correct.
Hashtag not all.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like Mario doesn't have that many button inputs. That's true.
Sure.
That is true. Yeah. They are terrible people if they buy it. I agree, Johnny. What about you, Silver? What's the plan for your purchase?
Well, I wasn't actually planning on getting it, but I finally managed to catch up on a lot of the direct stuff last week. And like seeing Metroid Prime in particular at 4K, that was something that was completely unexpected for me, and really sort of sealed it, I think. Like the price point is a definite sore point, but also, I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that Nintendo games have been at that price point here, sadly. So it's not necessarily something new. Like they've been up. They were up there in the 90s. Like they're around. Like the games for the Switch 2 will be around as much as a little over $100 here, which is a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the Switch console itself, the Switch 2 console itself will be like $700 with the bundle for Mario Kart. So that is a lot of money. But at the same time, yeah, I probably will get it. I've also I do kind of want to get back into Breath of the Wild because it's been a very long time since I got into those games. It's been there's been an emotional distance there because of the ties to my aunt and whatnot. So I do kind of want to revisit those. And I still haven't even played Tears of the Kingdom, even though I have the collector's edition for it.
You haven't played Tears of the Kingdom at all?
No, I haven't been able to sort of go into it because of the emotional ties to that game. So that's like having the Switch 2 as an entry point to that will hopefully help. So those are all sort of motivating factors for the Switch 2 for me, where the price point sort of gets downgraded. It's, again, because it's not the first time Nintendo games have been there at that level here.
Yeah, price-wise, right. And I guess for me, I would just say I think Mario's stupid, and I think Mario Kart is stupider. I have no desire to play those games. Not going to play them. But what I am going to do is also not play that piece of shit handheld, because I know it'll be uncomfortable. So I'm going to buy a third-party adapter whenever I do get it. And I'm going to be probably switching out right away to the third-party adapter. I'll play it without the third-party adapter to talk about it with people, but I don't want to play that thing with the, like, I don't want to be uncomfortable. You're already looking down or trying to hold hold the device at a certain angle when it's handheld. So, but I'll be with Johnny. I'll probably play a lot of it docked too. And by the way, that's a joke. I really just I just don't get Mario Kart. It's not that I think it's bad. It's obviously very good. Same way with Prime, Metroid. I don't know what it is, but Metroid, man, just does not get me for some reason. I wish it did, because that's one of their Prime games. I am hoping for a Mario, though. Oh, and Donkey Kong. Cannot fucking wait. Donkey Kong's the game that, for whatever reason, is just right up my alley.
Donkey Kong reminded me a lot of Deep Rock Galactic as a kind of platformer. Like, the terrain morphing looked a lot like the terrain morphing in Deep Rock Galactic to me.
Yeah, that is true.
The idea that you can punch your way through stuff fits so well with the thematic of Donkey Kong that it was like a really good match.
It just looks like a really hairy Randy Macho Man Savage beating the shit out of stuff, and I'm in for that. And it looked fun. It looked super fast. That's Mario Kart in and of itself, though, looked pretty fun and fast,
disappointing, like a barrel throwing, though, for Donkey Kong.
That is true. That is true. There's a disappointing lack of it. Maybe there's entire levels where that's. I mean, I don't think they'll skip it. Right? There's got to be some barrel throwing in there. That would be weird if they had Donkey. It would be like Mario without mushrooms. I feel like that'll be in there. It'll be in there somewhere. But so I'll be getting that. Really excited. What I saw, the performance of the Switch 2, very happy with that. Especially as we see now new handhelds being released. I'm not going to even try to pronounce these two companies. They're both Chinese companies that have like Aoki or something like that. And then the other one, they're both releasing the brand new AMD with bigger batteries and all this stuff at $1,200 to $1,300 a pop off Kickstarter new. Cool. That kind of stuff. So they're in the really expensive realm. This is in that realm where I think it makes sense. The price as of the system, not the games, I'm pretty okay with. I think the price for what we're getting, what I saw looked fine. I
think it's quite competitive when you look at, Steam Deck and stuff.
Yeah.
Considering it's been around for a long time.
Not only that, but I think it's competitive when it comes to how many third parties are chomping at the bit to put their games on it, which is really nice because let's be honest, guys, there's been a lot of years, 8 of them. Well, whatever day that the Switch 1 came out, where it feels like the idea of a third party game was always going to have these huge caveats. And now, I'm not saying they won't have some caveats because every system has them. The Xbox S has them. The PlayStation and Xbox versus PC have them, but I'm really excited for what I saw. And the larger screen, guys, that's the sexiest thing to me because that is just the right screen size, I think. And maybe that'll make the Joy-Con a little bit more comfortable.
I was going to say, do you think there's a chance the Joy-Cons are now just big enough that
they might
it's actually playable?
But I don't have a Joy-Con here, but I got to tell you, Johnny, it's going to have to be a big move because that Joy-Con is no lie here for me.
You're cramping your hands 20 minutes in with that.
Fiddle. Yeah, it's such an odd device. Do we know, are the triggers on the Switch 2 full analog, like 100% full analog? Because I didn't like the triggers on the Switch 1. Do we?
I haven't seen anything about the triggers.
And I wonder how the bumpers are, because bumpers...
Buy the $10 tour when we get the Switch 2 to see.
I was like, where is silver fucking going? And then I remembered what you're talking about. Dude, leave it up to Nintendo to sell you.
Right.
I mean, I guess.
I mean, they kind of, from what I remember, didn't they kind of do the same thing with the Switch?
They did one to Switch. When
they had that little collection of like the milking minigame and whatever.
Was the milking minigame? I do remember the milking minigame because that became a meme. There's a reason why it sounds suspect. Trust me. It was on purpose.
That was their tech demo of last time, and it also wasn't for free.
It was on purpose. There is no way in hell that a man with a penis or a woman with a vagina or whatever with whatever, any kind of sexual organs at all, saw that milking game and was developing it and didn't know what they were doing. As I do this, smarting. It was, dude, come on. You knew the moment you saw it. You were like,
this is family friendly, but cream. In the background.
For cream. Yeah. I'd like just explain it off. Wizard of Smoke says, speaking of controllers, I eventually am getting the Meridian X-Ray flight sim controller that was mentioned a couple weeks ago. Would be cool if you could configure it as a drive stick shift in Forza. Here's the thing. Most any controller a couple 6 to 12 months ago could be adjusted before all the weird rules came on with certifications. I don't know if they can anymore. The Brooks adapter let you take any controller for any device. I don't know their current feasibility anymore, but you might want to check into Brooks adapters, or it used to be called the Zim, but I think the Zim in particular was used for cheating. And that one got a really black marked kind of name to it. Yeah. But the Brooks I had, and it allowed me to save $400 for $40. It allowed me to use the steering wheel on both consoles, which was that's so much money.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish,
hack.
Dude, right? Yeah. Like it's so ridiculous that you have to pay for a completely different certification just to get
because the hardware is the same,
identical. Well, obviously it's the same because it worked perfect. It's like you plug in a USB adapter and it just, you were like, oh, okay, that worked quite well.
That's such a silly,
I will say this, he's talking about flight sticks, guys. I'm seriously getting back into flight sims. I found something very cool. So normally I would put, I don't know if you guys do a lot, Silver, when you drive, are you using a steering wheel?
No, I'm having trouble mounting it to my desk, so I can't at the moment.
So there we go. So I found a company that they have pretty much an adapter for every single chair you can find, but you take the 3 screws out of the side of the arm of the chair, and you put an adapter in it. You put the chair arm back on, and it adds platforms. So I saw somebody with a racing wheel right on his chair. I saw somebody else with dual joysticks. You can buy the adapters or you can buy the full mounts. You can do whatever. I think I'm going that way because currently my steering wheel is folded up with my steering wheel case and all that shit in a corner, and it weighs like minimum 250 pounds because it's solid, it's a solid metal. It's got all the devices plugged into it. So the idea of being able to just go and put those, and I found my chair, they have a list of chairs that are compatible, and it'd be even better if I knew who the fuck the company was that I'm talking about right now, and I have no clue what they're called. Master, maybe, something's Master, but it's not Thrustmaster. But there's a company online that has this, if you guys are interested. The cool thing is they had tons of auxiliary shit. The best one I saw was a guy with 2 joysticks. So he did the double. I'm not a big fan of this kind of thing. I usually like the typical, throttle.
Right.
But he had the double. Then he had a throttle here in case he needed it for a different game. Then he had 2 adapters for tablets, and it was all on his chair. And I was like, that's pretty fucking wicked.
Damn.
No mounting on the table, which is sort of a bitch anyway. And then the other thing I did, I think I've told Johnny about this. I bought the table extenders. All they are is they're a desk style material with a swivel latch, so you can fold them down. So your table's the same length it normally is. But if you want to add like 8 to 12 inches to the table, you literally fold it up, snaps in place. So right on my keyboard and my mouse are on those. And you can put a joystick on that too. I don't know if I would mount a steering wheel on it. Yeah, they do. Yeah,
they clamp on your desk?
They clamp hard, by the way. Like this thing's been on here for months. And then you just push 2 buttons. I almost destroyed another keyboard as we speak. Let me move that Monster Energy. Dude, I was telling Reg, I killed a keyboard about 4 days ago in chat by spilling Mountain Dew on it. Bought a new keyboard. Was sitting there talking to the guys yesterday. Grabbed a cable and didn't see, and killed the other keyboard that I got.
Oh my!
Just dumped the entire drink in while I was sitting back, so I didn't even have time to like, you know. And it's funny because you'll do the thing where you tap it and you're like, I'm sure it's fine. And as I was typing, I was like, it's all in capital letters. I must have the caps lock on. And then I hit the caps lock and I was like, nope, it's screwed. But anyway, yeah, good system. Couldn't tell you who it is. But I'm telling you, something out there works really well. You're just going to have to find it yourself because that's the way I roll. I didn't look up the name of the thing. Sorry. What else? Well, actually, Johnny, get a couple of things from Discord and I'll look this up while you do that.
Sure. Let's do that. So, question thread. Here we go. Mr. BG, he doesn't say Mr., but you know, I'm assuming you're
paying him respect.
Yeah, exactly. It's meant as respect. Anyway, he says, "What's the TV show which had a very appealing vibe to you, even though from the outside it seems a bit weird?" I am watching Twin Peaks currently, and it has a very unique vibe which I haven't experienced before. Yeah, that it does. That's a good example. I mean, I like Dexter. I've been rewatching it. It's certainly a bit of an acquired taste.
Yeah.
I would say.
It looks weird. So like somebody's watching you watch it and maybe you're a little embarrassed. Maybe you got to pull your pants up when they come in, but you're like, this is weird.
Yeah. Maybe Black Mirror. Some episodes
of Black Mirror would definitely be up there. Yeah.
There's a medical drama called The Nick, which has about 2 seasons. Which was really created by Steven Soderbergh, who also directed and shot every episode.
Oh, it's not the one I was thinking about. I was thinking about Nip and Tuck, which was an older plastic surgery.
It's set in like 1900 New York at a hospital, and it's really about sort of the revolutionary evolution of medical science at that time. But the show has this really weird sort of dystonal feel to it, in that it uses an electronic music track or soundtrack to underscore it that feels incredibly anachronistic and yet somehow really, really suitable, and also fits into how the show is shot, the way the show is shot and everything. And how that then also ties in together to some of the best like medical effects I've ever seen in a show that is generally jarring. Like the pilot episode of that show is absolutely horrific in how it details how medical surgeries were performed at that time, where you basically have a person like, because they're only just installing electricity in the hospital, and so as they are performing surgery on a woman, you have a guy literally pumping blood manually with his foot from a crank, and then using a crank into bottles that they keep like filling and then putting in a new bottle to fill it up. Yeah, exactly, in a cycle. That gets really, really gratuitous. Like how that show works in its anachronisms and everything. It's just incredibly executed, and it comes off as a little bizarre. And to me, like going in, seeing the trailers and stuff for that show, I went in going, what is this? What is this going to be? And it ended up being one of the most interesting shows I've seen in modern times.
I saw The Nick as well, and I would say less so because The Nick led, but I would say The Pit I just finished. That's the new one with
The Pit also.
That came out of nowhere. Dude, realistic. I started going like, they're not going to show that, are they? They show a full birth, and I don't know how they got away with it, but I'm like, even my wife was like, what the they're showing head popping out of badge, and you're like, damn, what? But a very good show. The Nick, I saw, I've not seen the full show, but I did see a YouTube, like unrated YouTube, little bit of him performing surgery on himself. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's the climax.
That's the last
of the entire show.
Yeah, that was rough to watch, even that. So, and that was on YouTube. That wasn't the full episode.
They also have because back then they're doing surgeries in front of like an entire audience, like an amphitheater, in front of doctors. And there's a scene where he's basically doing open brain surgery on a patient, and he's like poking at his brain to like cause twitches and whatnot, and demonstrate to all the other doctors.
Dude, that's
just very unsettling. Yeah.
Reg, do you have any? Like, how about this, Reg? I got the question. Let's roll this up into your facet of entertainment. Anime.
True.
Here we go. You're watching an anime, and Karak comes in, 16-hour flight to your place, and I forget to knock. I randomly come in. I open the door. What anime do you hope you're not watching?
Most of them.
Oh man, you're like, I don't know, what one would I rather have you see? I'm trying
because all of them, pretty much all of them have a fan service scene sooner or later.
Right. That's questionable.
Some big sister coming in there, like,
yeah.
Oni-chan.
Incest is only bad if you have a baby.
One-chan. Yeah.
Dude, you know the words and everything. Maybe I should swing this
Yeah,
over to
One-chan
Johnny.
is the sister. Oni-chan is the bro.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I
Right,
believe you.
Reg?
Also,
I think I got that right. Yeah.
Another show just came to me that's an absolute must see. Gallivant.
Haven't heard of that one.
Which is it is basically a musical show. It ran for 2 seasons on ABC, and basically lampoons the sort of fantasy fairy tale genre. Its songs are written by Adam Menken of Disney fame, who wrote a lot of the most famous songs for Disney films in the 90s and whatnot, and is a sort of musical staple. But yeah, that show is absolutely incredible. Incredibly funny. It has even Vinnie Jones, of all people, singing in the musical. It's just...
Wait, did Silver just jump to just suggesting good shows now? Or was this a show that also has weird stuff?
No, it's weird because the like just seeing the trailer of it. Well, what is this? What is this musical thing where they just suddenly break into these hilarious songs and whatnot? And I came to it back when it aired, going, what is this? This looks like one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. And how this show is sort of pulled off, and how it plays on a lot of these tropes that are established in the genre, and makes fun of them and ridicules them, and lampoons them in a way that's incredibly hilarious throughout, and with an absolutely stellar cast and guest stars throughout.
All right.
Both seasons.
For me, I don't really have one. I'm like these guys. I mean, and I would agree with Johnny. There's 1 or 2 episodes of Black Mirror where you're like, But I would say Black Mirror turned out to be way more tame than I was told it was. I don't know. It's a little like when I play Cards Against Humanity, and like I'm sitting there going, this is boring, because this is like nothing compared to what we talk about normally, let alone like risky stuff. And people are like, oh my God, I can't believe you said that. And I would say with Black Mirror, there are definitely episodes that if somebody came in, you'd be the first episode of that in particular is the pig. You're just like
with the politician,
and it almost felt. And you had told me this prior, that it felt like it was like first episode this, then this, first episode this, then this. That's sort of how the season feels like it swings. I would agree with that wholeheartedly. Reading some questions here. Dominic Webb says, do you guys think Switch 2 will bring back the media narrative of holding back game development because of game limitations, like was the case of the Series S? Or are we past that now? We'll never be past it. And by the way, most media aren't going to say that. Idiots will say that. If the title is required to be on everything, the Series S might hold back Xbox versions. But I think we have seen now that companies are moving forward when a platform holds them back. I think that's pretty generically normal now. So if the Switch 2 holds somebody back, it'll just hold them back. And I think Xbox is the only one with platform parity between the X and S. PlayStation obviously doesn't have it. It wouldn't make sense. So yeah, no,
Yep.
I don't see that happening. I was asking people what they were playing. Some people said Pushing Daisies has a weird, almost Tim Burton vibe. Dodger says Deep into Blueprints. Oh,
Barry Levinson.
I asked people what they were playing. Yeah, I have seen that. So pumped for Expedition 33. Dominic Webb says Blueprints as well. I'm not a puzzle game person at all because I asked them what they were playing or watching. Powder Keg says the Nick is good. No one I know has ever heard of it because it was only on Cinemax. Yeah, I don't know of a single show on
here
Cinemax.
it was on HBO Max or HBO Nordic at the time.
The Nordic have their own version of HBO. That's racist. How do they have their own version of HBO? It's called HBO Nordic. That's so separatist. I don't know why. Damn.
No, it's because of licensing rights, so they have to pool them together for that.
Oh, okay, I got you. I was like, damn, man.
We don't even have an HBO in the UK, by the way.
Nah. What?
They don't have a platform in the UK.
Really?
It's other broadcasting companies that acquire
Sky
the rights,
especially.
like Sky or Now TV or whatever.
Damn.
Yeah.
Lewiston says
they're working on that.
I'm watching on Netflix a show called The Danger of My Heart. I would be really pissed if you showed up when I was watching at ACG. Okay, Danger of My Heart. I'm going to look that up, Lewiston. I'm going to see what that is. Because you've done some embarrassing stuff just in stream. So the idea that you'd be embarrassed if I showed up at your house when you're watching that means that's got to be got to be risky.
It sounds like a romance. So I'm having a hard time picturing Lucitan watching that.
Dude, I watch a lot of... I watch a lot of that kind of stuff too, though. Like, it's just sort of one of those things. It calms the beast's heart. That's all I'm saying. HBO is on Sky, Lucitan says, for him, which I'm assuming is the same for what you guys were saying, right? B1G Duck says, just finished Bosch or Bosch, depending on where you're from. Gonna miss that show. Yes, indeed. Netflix, The Midnight Gospel. Thank me later. Avoid the Void says. The Midnight Gospel. Do you know the one?
Heard of that one.
Do you know why I haven't watched, Johnny? I haven't watched The Handmaid's Tale yet because I heard that's
neither,
really
man.
good. You haven't watched it.
I've heard a lot about it.
A ton. Ben, $10 super chat and says, "Just because." Well, just because I love you, man. Appreciate the $10 super chat. Thank you very much. Johnny will salute you very much. This is going towards Johnny's. What did he say? His. What did you say something about earlier? Getting
the follicles.
the follicle hairdress. Yeah.
Situation.
We're gonna get him a massive flock of seagulls. Mohawk.
Yeah, I'll come out with a toupee next time.
Oh man, like in the bad
Wouldn't
ones
it be
that are
weird
flipped
if
to the
one
side.
day I just show up with like a full head of hair? You guys would pretend just not to embarrass me.
Dude, that's the way you should. You know, because you're told not to bring something up, so it's like I'd be like, hey Johnny, and then behind the scenes I'd be like, what in the fuck? Like you'd see my mustache moving a bit, I'd be like, guys, are you seeing this shit? So anyway, welcome to guys, are you seeing the fucking shit right now? Johnny has a mohawk. Dominic Webb says, have you guys played Blueprints? So listen to this, prepare your ass, because I don't think the two people in here who played it liked it. Is that correct? I don't think Reg or Johnny liked Blueprints.
It is correct. Yeah, I tried it.
Did not like it.
I don't know.
Damn.
30 minutes maybe. And then it was gone again.
That's a significant commitment from you.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, 30 minutes is like hours for
Reg. I did probably round it up, to be fair.
Was it just not what you thought it was going to be when you booted it? Is that what happened? Like you started playing and we're like,
I had like a super high level understanding of what it was gonna be. I just tried it and
whatever it was gonna be is not gonna be for you. Fair enough. All right. I've not got a chance to play it yet. Johnny, what were your thoughts on the Blueprints?
I think it was also very overhyped by everybody in the media. Like people making entire videos talking about it's the next.
This is your Liza P for me.
That's the feeling you had?
This is the feeling I had, where I still can't figure it out. Yeah, go for it.
You can't see it.
I
don't really see what people are kind of clamoring about, but it's also because I didn't get too deep into the game. I went into it expecting some really high level fun puzzles. And what I found is that I spent 90% of my time, several hours, just unlocking trivial rooms that had nothing in them. And then rinse and repeat, right? Because the whole place resets every day. So like when you're out of rooms, the whole thing resets. And now you're tasked with like placing the same rooms all over the place. and only like a couple even had puzzles, and they were utterly simple and like not fun, not interesting in my opinion. So I think what happened is I didn't get to the good shit. And that's the difference, I think. But I'm not enjoying it enough
to get to the good
to
shit.
make it there. Yeah, which I think is fair.
Do you know the game that did this to me too, guys? Outer Wilds. Outer Wilds, man, was like, oh, it's the greatest thing ever, blah, blah, blah. And I played it and beat it and was like, what? I mean, I'm not like, I didn't dislike it. I didn't stop playing it, but I did fully play it and was just very confused by the, this must be the end of all times game. Just people just claiming that it was like one of the best games ever made. It was, I really couldn't understand it. And then Karak needs a spill-proof lid for his monster. No, I haven't spilled monster. It was Mountain Dew, sadly, but I do need that. Dave Wilson. So I asked everybody this question. Undertale is being brought up. Outer Wilds for me. So Dave and I. Oregon Fresh says he's not a fan of Ghost of Tsushima. Powder Keg says, yeah, I hear you, Johnny. There should never be multiple hours of playtime before it gets good.
And I see some people saying I missed the point. I'm completely open to that. I might have, missed the depth or whatever it is.
How did you miss the point after, if you played it and it's not there?
But that was just my experience. You know what I mean? That's all I can talk about.
It's not missing the point. Missing the point would be playing the entire game and missing the point. You played enough of it, you didn't like it, the end. It doesn't mean you missed the point. I hate that shit. It's just like whenever anybody fucking lies and they're like, yeah, this game gets good after 10 hours. No, it's got 10 shitty fucking hours at the starting. Shut up. Just shut up. It's okay, man. Just, god damn. Playing Indiana Jones was playing Xenoblade 3, thinking of jumping into Lords of the Fallen. That's got to be a Kig post, and it is. You can always tell. Let's see. I need a Karak branded sippy cup. I'll sell them if you want to buy them. I sold a bunch of face masks during the pandemic, man. That worked. It's good from the beginning, but you just went in with a certain expectation.
Yeah, that could be it too. It was, I heard it's so overhyped.
Otherwise, how would you do it? Buy the game randomly on a roulette wheel with absolutely no expectation whatsoever and then dislike the game?
It's different if I have like a proper review like you make where you kind of give the pros and cons more, or it's a bit more in detail. What I've heard is it was all footage about people in love with it and saying how it was,
Well, we have people in our Discord who played it all the way through, didn't know what it was going to be, just heard the name and thought it might be good and didn't like it. So it doesn't matter. Yeah. Didn't like it. It
is on Game Pass, though. We keep saying it, but it's a it's a good opportunity.
Dude, I love that Amudski looked up Blueprints like 50 times and could not find the game. He was like, Blueprints? What the fuck? There's no game called Blueprints. He's like, I don't understand what these guys are talking about. Did I miss the Switch 2 talk? We'll probably swing back to, it, but we've talked a lot about it. Number 9, N9, N3 Records. South of Midnight went from the game I was least excited about to my favorite game of the year so far.
Damn.
Nice. Yeah, that's the opposite way, but that's pretty surprising. I could see. Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of, I don't know. There's not a lot of combat in that. Reg, you beat that one?
No.
Johnny, Silver, any of you guys play Midnight?
No.
South of Midnight yet? Okay.
Not very much.
Yeah. Yeah, to be one of those ones to see what people think of it, because there is a distinct lack of combat in that one. It is very much a Telltale with more battle in it kind of thing. But it's just one of those things. Remember, what's the game? I bring this up all the time that people were trying to say it was game of the year and it was only like 2 months in. It's made by Arcane. That fucking shit-ass time loop, death loop.
Mm-hmm.
This is why now whenever I hear anybody go like, this is the best anything, I'm like, fuck y'all. We're waiting for like 6 months. Dude, I remember just going like, what game did you play? And I'm not saying it was horrendous, but it was so out of control the opposite way. It was fucking ridiculous. What else do we have for questions, John? Oh, by the way, I did find the company. It is called Monster Tech. Who does the mounts, but I found out that other companies do that as well for mounts for gamepads, joysticks on the sides of your chair. Go ahead, Silver.
So I think part of the point Johnny touched on with in regard to expectations, it's also something you see. Like, say, if people telling you you have to read Tolstoy. Tolstoy is the greatest writer who ever wrote, or whatever. And then you go and try and read. Like, you're used to reading, say, like fantasy fiction or whatever, and then you try and go and read War and Peace, right? That's gonna be rough, probably going into that with those just the expectations of being told this is the greatest book that's ever been written, or Anna Karenina, or whatever,
or the Kumasatra or something.
Yeah, that too, potentially, I guess, if you're to the more practical applications of literature.
I feel like it's
nothing practical about
there's. Have you seen some of those positions? I'm just saying, the donkey isn't possible if you got a bad back. I agree with you, though. But I do think the expectation stuff gets just too it gets to game of the generational at times where you're like, it's not always
it certainly can, because I mean we have a tendency to do that with how we hype stuff, right?
Yeah.
And how because of the nature of how it has to be the greatest thing ever or the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
It can't ever just be good or whatever. It has to be, this performance is the best performance of all time. This character is the best fictional character of all time. Oh, this game is the best game of all time. This movie is the best movie of all time. It can't just be good. It has to like rise to that level of exceptionalism.
Yeah. It's sad too, because I think with the best, if there is a best game of all time, a lot of times I don't play those. I love them once and they're there forever. But a game that maybe is good but isn't the 10 if you do a fucking number scale, I have a tendency to return to those. Like, I'll never return to Disco Elysium. My time with that was my time with that. I'll never return to Baldur's Gate. But some games that aren't, the greatest or whatever, sometimes I'll return to them because I'm like, oh, maybe I'll get something different, and end up they hold a special place in my heart for just sheer time. It's like that friend who's comfortable. They're not really fun sometimes. They don't require effort all the time. They're just a good solid hang, as the saying goes. Let's see. Avoid the Void says, I'm probably hyped for Claire Obscura. Also, Karak, did you play Tempest Rising? No, but let's jump to that real quick. So with Tempest Rising, this is a RTS made by
Danish company, actually, under 3D Realms here in Denmark.
Okay.
Local guys.
And basically, would we say this is a somewhat spiritual successor then to?
Oh, absolutely.
To
Command and
Conquer?
Yeah.
I mean, so much so that like the GD, like what used to be the GDI, are now called the GDF.
In the game?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay. I wasn't aware of that.
You check out the Steam page and it's definitely
okay. I know Reg said he installed it. I know a couple people in the chat have bought editions. It's on early access though, isn't it? Not early access, but you can pay to play it 3 days early.
No, it's a full release. It's both versions.
Okay.
So you can't just buy the normal version and get immediate access.
All right. Well, then Amudski, if you're watching, you can play your game because he bought it, and what he was reading made it appear to be like it was a certain version.
I think yesterday it was early access for only the deluxe version, but
maybe that's what he did. But it's out today. All right.
Yeah.
So has anybody in here played it? Dave Wilson says Tempest Rising is real fun. That's what I've heard was fun. It's not necessarily the best graphics. It's not whatever, but it's an incredible return to the Command and Conquer. Like, motif.
Yeah, I mean, what I hear and what it looks like when I have seen people play it is it looks like Command and Conquer 3.5 basically.
And one or two of them worked there, right? Isn't that correct? Aren't some?
I think there are a couple of. There? I've heard there are a couple of people from the Westwood studio who have been on it. Yeah.
After EA bought Westwood and pushed them into a trench and shot them and left them.
Yeah,
dead.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Remember the old meme? It would show EA leading all the indie devs that they bought to the trench and shooting them, letting them die.
Origin,
Westwood. Frog. Did they buy Frog? Not Frogwares. The other one. Didn't they buy Magic Carpet or something? One of that name of that
Bullfrog.
Dev? Yeah, Bullfrog.
Yeah. Bullfrog. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good stuff. Not greatest game ever. I don't want.
They also bought Lionhead.
Did they buy Lionhead too?
I think so, didn't they? Or
I
no,
don't
no,
know.
no, no. That was Microsoft, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
That makes more sense.
Dave Wilson says it's not groundbreaking or anything, but does exactly feel like Command and Conquer 3.5, as you said, Silver. That's cool, man. Good for them. Necro said Bullfrog. Yep. I think it's awesome that it's being done. I think RTS doesn't really get the shine. I mean, Age of Empires has the remakes and stuff from Microsoft, and they're feeding a shit ton into those games. I think they just released something for Age of Empires 2. I think it was a Moodsky who told me about it. Like,
I mean, that still has a, I think, sizable esports scene as well.
Oh, does it? I hadn't even thought about the esports side of things. Yeah, so Amood says, yeah, I got the normal version unlocking on the 24th. What's the 18th, bro? So
they have a weird release thing where they say it's releasing on the 24th, but if you pre-order now, any edition, both editions, you get 7 days early access. So effectively, if you buy it now, it's just out. So I don't know why they.
So Amoodski, you should try to see if that works for you. That's cool.
Yeah.
Oregon Fresh asks, is Civ 7 fixed yet?
It depends on what you thought.
That's
was
what I was going to say. Yeah.
Civilization 6, but it says 7 rather.
Technically, it will never be fixed.
There's been a number of updates certainly that have changed quite a lot of things in the game. There's also been new content. Whether it's in a better place now than at launch, I think a lot of people certainly feel that way. Who played the game at launch. I haven't really played it much the past couple of weeks, so I can't really say where its current state is. But yeah, I mean, again, that's going to depend on what you didn't like about the release. I think it's more stable now, but how much more stable, I can't really say.
That game definitely came and went because I forgot it was released until you just mentioned something. The one I do want to play bad is the Age of Wonders DLC with the giants. Yeah, God, I cannot wait. Dude, I'm telling you, Johnny. No, I'm not going to tell you because I've already talked about it in many podcasts. I'm not going to bore you. Fucking
but
good,
that looks like an easy one to get into, which is probably the biggest problem of some of those games.
And we're getting a new Age of Legends, right? From the or what is it? Endless Legends. Sorry, they're doing another game,
right?
So, and did you guys see the video? Because I honestly didn't. I saw the people in chat talking about it, but the world changes while you're playing or something. The landscape or the world itself. Lucitan was talking up something about the world itself changing or adjusting as you play. I'm a Endless Space fan. I was not as much of a fan of the Endless Legends games, but I'll definitely give it I'll give her a go. I'll give her a good solid thrumming. What else do you got there, Johnny? You can give that weird look. You can give
this one from Knucklehead. What's your favorite piece of tech so far this year? Could be brand new tech, new to you tech, or tech you've had for a while, just still really good.
Let me answer. Reg has been helping me a shit ton with Linux stuff. I got a server for NVMe RAID server, and I hate Linux in all ways, shapes, or forms. But I've been jumping in and relearning how to do stuff. It's been awesome. It's been fun to learn, and it's a GMK Tech. It's one of the mini PCs, but it's got a slate of 4 NVMe's. It's a little mini PC. It's been fun to do the NOS on that, and it was super cheap. It was less than $300 for the server, with fairly robust specs. That has been a blast. That's my piece. What do you guys have?
Honestly, I was genuinely impressed with the Switch 2.
Even though you don't have it, you just mean the tech.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that it can run 120 FPS, right, at a lower resolution than 4K, was certainly something I never expected.
Yeah, true.
I mean, being able to play like Mario Kart at that frame rate, I think that could be a lot of fun.
I would agree. That was actually quite surprising that they even tried the 120. I mean, I know that a lot of games won't hit it, but the fact that it's even capable is pretty cool. What about you guys? Reg, any new hardware? Johnny, any new guitars?
The only new hardware I got is a gimbal. That's it.
For the camera, webcam kind of thing?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is it an AI gimbal or is it just the electric gimbal? Is it
the DJI, the big one.
Oh, gotcha. What do you use that for?
Video.
I mean, do you
when I
like
go
walk?
outside? Yeah.
How big's the cam you're using for it?
Well, my
DLSR?
Nikon camera.
Okay.
The other side.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Yeah, those are pretty cool. What about you, Johnny?
I think for me, it's still the audio interface / like, just the audio device I use. It's because it simplified everything I do in a big way. I can probably even show you guys. I wanted to.
Everything froze. Oh, okay. I was
Yeah.
like, oh
so
no.
it's this it's this thing here. You can't see the full thing, but it's a Rode interface, and it has a bunch of faders. It's got you could connect 2 computers to it. Now I just have 2 connections on my one computer, so I could pipe the game to one device and, Discord audio to another, for example. It's got a bunch of adjustments, and here, if I wanted to play guitar for you guys, I can just press a button, and now it's coming through. It's being piped through the same audio device and everything. So it's just made controlling all the audio super simple for mic, guitars, and everything I do.
I don't think people realize how confusing it can be for audio in particular. Like if you're recording when I'm in Discord and I'm playing a game and I want some footage.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, if I hit record and I don't have it set up, it'll have their voices in the recording, and that makes the whatever video is fine to be used, but not the audio. So it's very nice to have those. Yeah. I think in all honesty, you go into one PC seems like you have less tech issues too when we're talking. It just like getting set up and stuff. It seems like you're almost always just a step easier than it was when you have 2 PCs. Always got to make sure everything's working perfect.
Simplified.
Yeah. I will say software wise, and I'm sure there's a billion bits of software, but one thing I've been impressed with is I use Input Director, which allows for one PC to control as many devices as you want. And I have 6 PCs plus the mini PCs. And it's so nice to be able to just sit here, drag the mouse over to the other screen, type in there. It shares copy paste between the two. So you can just use your mouse and keyboard. I can get up, I can go to a different room, use a mouse and keyboard still on the main PC and stuff like that. That kind of stuff is always awesome because I still remember the old days, the old switcheroony. What, KVM? Is that what it's called? KVM switch keyboard?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Is that what it was? Yeah. Dude, those, and they never worked. They were like HDMI, and you were like, here we go. I always had switching problems with that, but as a software wise, it's been nice. Scott said he got a Ryzen 9800 X3D for me, followed by a 5080. Ray tracing on quality mode is now possible. Damn. Well, good for you. That's more powerful than what I have. Johnny, you got an 87 X3D, or what's your CPU?
7800 X3D.
7800.
Yeah.
Let's see. Eternal says targeting doesn't mean it'll hit and maintain 120, but I suppose it's nice to know. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Not even worth saying because that's quite literally since 1902. That's been the way it is. Your TV could display 30, doesn't mean your commercial at 24 was going to hit 30. Is there any software you guys have that you've been enjoying or using lately, like any new freeware? I always love to suggest freeware software if somebody's got anything that's been popping off.
Nah,
for them.
only AI stuff for programming.
Oh, for programming?
No.
I think I mentioned it already, but I've been using Riva Tuner quite a bit for limiting FPS on games. Some games don't have the option. Others, sometimes it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So this thing works super well, and I don't see any artifacts or issues with it. So it's very, very handy.
Yeah, Riva Tuner's always been awesome. I've had issues with its display popping up when I didn't want to, and in some programs it'll try to pop up even though you don't want it, and you'll be like, no, just close, and it'll pop back up, and I'm like, that kind of stuff bothers me. But as software alone, it's good. And I would say also Affinity, if you're a big fan. If you're a big fan of,
I've been using a lot of Affinity.
Dude, it's so great. So great. Avoid the Void says, hands down, lossless scaling for me. Oh, very cool. Glad somebody jumped into lossless scaling. That thing is awesome. What else you got for questions?
We got this one from Bebo Jam. What is your most hated chore, housework, and why is it cleaning the dishes? Because we all know it's the worst. I unironically don't hate doing the dishes.
Yeah.
I don't either.
Don't. Not to invalidate your
Cleaning the oven,
perspective,
though, is significantly
Ooh,
worse.
cleaning the oven is significantly worse.
Dude,
Yeah.
that's not even just a chore. That's
Because
like
that you might as well just take your back pain pills prior, because you can't get close to it because the fucking thing is down.
it's like Last of Us simulator. Just crouching.
Crouching the entire time, always in pain. We bought a mini dishwasher.
Cleaning the windows, probably.
Cleaning the windows, like, do you use a squeegee and the blade? Or do you just? Oh, damn. The biggest, I don't have a problem with chores. I don't necessarily love doing the dishes. We did buy a mini dishwasher, which is fucking magic. I didn't know they existed, and that's been nice. But for the most part, I don't mind. I'm sort of a clean freak, so like when I want to wash the dishes, it's nice when somebody else does.
Yeah.
But I'm always
laundry. I'm not a fan of laundry.
I'm looking at the fork,
Having
going,
to-
having to do laundry.
Yeah, like, bring the clothes over, take them out, like make sure they're dry, yada yada. Put them back in the wardrobe. Sometimes you gotta iron stuff too if it's too wrinkly.
Are you guys? I don't know if we've ever talked about this. I'm definitely the person that believes do 1% every day, so you don't have to do 100% on Sunday, kind of thing.
See, that's my problem.
I touch up all the time. Johnny's like, no,
I'm doing the 20% one day.
Literally always on
Yeah.
Sunday for me.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. I definitely am a firm believer in maintaining by like touching up.
It would be so much easier, literally. Yeah.
We have dogs though, so I think I have to touch up, because if you sit down quick in the recliner, you'll see a hairball roll by because you have so many dogs. So it's like I just constantly cleaning up. Jojo says taking the trash
But
out,
also use
dishes,
more
folding
water
laundry.
with running multiple washes a week than running one, wouldn't you? Or
We do twice a week. We do twice a week. When I was saying 1% every day, I just mean touching up the house. I'm a big fan of just picking up that
And
way.
for that, for sure,
Yeah.
like clean the stove, like do one thing instead of.
yeah, I'll always
Oh.
like in the kitchen. I'll always clean up after myself immediately,
Oh, do you?
or
See, I have a hard time
as
doing that.
often as I can, so that I don't leave a mess after I've cooked.
Yeah, see, I should be way better at that. I have a tendency to
No, sure.
that one waits
Yeah.
a day.
It's
usually the next day.
Aspirational goal.
It's a goal.
Exactly.
It's a goal. It's
Yeah,
a thought
it's a goal.
process. Yeah,
There
we'll
you
get
go.
there. We'll get there. I would say, what's your weakness then? Is there one thing that you guys are really bad at? Not that you dislike, but that you're just bad at. Mine is wire management. Without there is no. I showed Reg a picture on my PC one time, and he could not believe it was mine. It was that bad. It's like, especially with moving stuff around. So mine's wire management. Is there something you guys are terrible at when it comes to like just house?
Yeah.
Go for it.
All the crouching stuff you talked about, oven, cleaning bathroom.
So if it
stuff
involves
like that.
crouching, it's not getting done.
I
Except
suck at it.
when you,
Yeah.
Okay.
My legs are not happy with that.
Mm.
It's like I have a debuff, like can't stealth.
What about sitting down and rolling around on a like getting the
Yeah, I can do
stool
that. I can
things?
work with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's still not ideal. So it's definitely my weakness.
What about you, Reg? Anything you're absolutely terrible about?
Yeah, keeping my desk clean
Dude. Yeah.
or empty.
Yeah.
So are we talking like empty cans
you
and
don't
stuff?
want to see it. I'm looking at it right now.
Nobody wants to see mine either. I agree. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cans,
I have you-
wires.
I'm just putting it out there. I
Look at the
showed
random
my
stuff
desk
that's
for you
on there. It's
guys.
like a 3D printed, movable, whatever
Oh.
pumpkin.
Oh damn!
Oh wow.
You're a collector too. I have
And-
like
and
9 of these.
Some eyes.
Some random eyes. Yeah. What's the most random thing you have on your desk?
What the
Okay, here
hell?
we go.
Why is that on your desk?
Black tape.
We got a Da
Random
Vinci
keys.
Resolve license. And
Right.
Random scissors. I don't even know how these got here.
Little Japanese
Dude.
cup.
Okay.
What else? I have a thing of Raid here because I
Paper
was trying to kill a
working,
fly.
printers.
Oh, for what? There we go. SBZ says Karak is bad at keeping his keyboards live. Well, admittedly, what we're talking about is directly in line with that issue. Yes, for sure.
Some Da Vinci Resolve.
Dude,
Bad.
I have one of those. Those are nice though. I'll let that pass. Eternal CMO says, you know what's ridiculous is 85 for Switch 2's Pro controller. Better off getting a dongle and using. It's $85 for the Switch 2.
Googly eyes. A whole box of googly eyes.
What is with you and the googly eyes, man? Do you put them on everything?
Yeah, that's the plan.
Here it's like over $100 for the Switch 2 controller. Yeah, it's the
Holy
price of a full game.
shit! Really?
Like the most expensive Switch 2 game. Yeah.
Wasn't the Pro controller also the most expensive peripheral they had originally too? Yeah, their pricing fucking sucks. I mean, wasn't aware of that.
The Pro controller for the Switch was also priced at the game level.
Damn. What was that, Reg? It green screened.
Yeah, that's because it's green.
Oh, there we go.
A little cactus.
Oh, a cactus. Gotcha.
Oh yeah, I got a little.
I have a bunch of amiibo.
Final Fantasy Cactuar. Wow.
Damn, you guys all have cool. You guys all have cool.
We all got a bunch of shit.
We do have a bunch of shit. I have like random controllers, but those are expected.
Oh yeah.
I don't really have anything that's on
also
here.
random controller.
Random
controllers.
My pipe is here. Books, loads of books.
I think we can all agree the googly eyes are the hardest.
Oh, there's a second mouse behind my monitor.
I feel justified. My wife is always like, why do you have 2 mouse pads? And I'm like, I don't even want to talk about it. There's a reason. It's just, it's not gonna make sense to a normal person, and probably doesn't make sense to even a lot of other people, but I do have 2.
In the other room with the other monitor, I also have 2 mice.
So do I. I have 2 at almost every.
For whatever reason, I have my game cartridge for Final Fantasy IV.
Do you even have the system that plays in?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm not here. That's somewhere else. Yeah.
Okay, nice.
I do have. My wife's got a hair dryer here. I have no clue why that's there. Yeah, there you go. Moving on from there. What else do we got, Johnny?
All right. Next up, this question from Green Saturn. Hey, Karak, what's one canceled game you wish would be released? Mine would be the Daft Punk Lumines game.
Oh, was there a musical-based Daft Punk game? Damn. That sucks. I wasn't even aware there was such a thing.
Look, if someone mentions the Dragon, what's the Dragon Back game they canceled?
Oh, Eternal or Scale.
Get out of here.
Whatever, Scalebound.
It was gonna be shit.
Yes. My God, man. Move on. The game.
What's the Vin Diesel one? Did that get canceled? Like the dinosaur Vin Diesel?
Oh, Arc 2?
Yeah.
No, Arc 2 is out, isn't it? I think Arc 2. Didn't Arc 2 come out in early access? Maybe I'm wrong.
I need to check it out.
I think it was Arc. Yeah. Vin Diesel sold his face to it. I think. Vin Diesel sold his face to it is a sentence you won't hear very often, but in this particular instance, it is absolutely factually correct. I think Arc 2 isn't out. But yeah, I would say the one that's been canceled.
It is Arc 2, you're right. Yeah.
The one that's been canceled.
What's Scalebound?
Oh yeah, it's to be announced. Yeah. Got it.
One that's been canceled that. Man, I really can't think of any. I don't hold any real. Okay, I'll go there. Only because Jesse was on the podcast and stuff do I know that the game was a little farther than like a lot of people thought. I would say Star Wars 1313. Yeah, I would say that game, from what he was saying and what other people have discussed, but he was on the podcast as a composer. We got to talk to him in depth, and certainly sounded like that game was definitely farther, and whatever happened. And I'm a big fan of Star Wars games that are good, not Survivor, but the good ones. So, the fact that like 1313 got canceled, that sucks. Yeah. What else we got?
Let's see. We got this one from Zaxby. Karak, is it weird to have dreams? Oh boy. Where is it going? Okay.
This is Zaxby?
Is it?
I don't know, but hold on to your butts, because no clue what that dude's going to write into a chat. It depends on what time he wrote it, too.
Is it weird to have dreams about people you have never met? Lately, I've been having really vivid dreams due to taking a tolerance break from smoking weed.
Oh.
A couple days ago, I dreamt that I was in Kuttenberg, KCD2 version, wandering around, and it felt so real. I even accidentally stepped into private areas and alerted guards, then had to run and hide from them while they ran around searching for me. Then last night I had a really vivid dream where I keep expecting this to go weird, but this is fine.
Okay.
Where I was eating Wendy's with you and your wife while watching Defiance. For some reason, my mom was there too.
That is amazing.
Talking on the phone loudly. So you told me to take her home. It felt so real, and I'm wondering if you think it's weird to have dreams about people
not now, man. I love the idea that he knows that I would be to the 70-year-old mom would be like, if you're gonna keep talking on the phone, get the fuck out. That is amazing, especially when I get in groups.
Sorted.
Get your mom sorted or get her the fuck out. That is awesome.
And he goes on to ask, have you ever dreamed about people you have never met?
I for sure have.
All the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like movie stars have had dreams where, you're in a movie for some reason and they're there or whatever.
Not like that, but
I've had those too, but I was talking like action movie or whatever,
Yeah.
For sure. I had a pretty impressive dream with Selma Hayek that I hold dear to my heart as just maybe an alternate reality that leaked into mine. Yeah, my lower back was not bad in that particular dream, is all I'm saying, which was nice.
Right.
Yep, nope, it's not weird at all.
You should have brought it back to the dog Kama Sutra reference earlier.
Yeah. What's the weirdest? No, we can't go there because the weirdest dream is just going to be like, I'd say the side effects of weed are better than whatever that was. Now this weed definitely, it is pretty crazy that when you stop smoking weed and you find out just how vivid dreams can be. Every person I know who's stopped has been like, holy shit, man, it feels so good to finally remember my dreams. Depends on the type of dreams you have though too. If you're a person who's prone to nightmares, you might, want to.
I tend to have a lot of dreams about flying around for some reason.
I think that's because of your mobility thing and it's a brain.
Yeah, that might be
working it out. Yeah.
And the first thing I try is just like jump off a building.
Absolutely.
Just being,
Johnny, have you ever had the ones where you could fly, but you can't again? And you keep like happens to me. And I think that has to do with the worry of like, I've always been worried. Can I not do this one day? Can I not? And I think that invades my dreams. And there will be dreams where I'll be able to fly and I'll land and I'll get the googly feeling in your stomach, that cool feeling of like a roller coaster. And then I'll try again and I can't. Or I'll try to fight and it'll be in slow motion. And no matter what, it's like punching through water and the other person's kicking your ass and you're just constantly not able.
Funny how you can get those feelings like the vertigo thing.
Oh, it's such a good feeling though. Yeah.
Your stomach or whatever.
Or have you ever felt love in a dream? Or I would say the equivalent.
Sure.
There's been times in a dream where, in the dream, it felt like it. Where I was like, I really love this person, whatever. And then I woke up and I was like, I love no one. And then I went, no, I'm just...
it's almost sad because now you don't have that thing.
I love that you wake up and you're like, I've never loved anybody. Any you guys have any dreams like that? Reg, do you have dreams?
I very rarely remember any dreams. And when I do, they're usually some kind of space exploration adventures.
Like interstellar, like deep space, or like I'm Buck
No,
Rogers?
like more like solar system stuff usually.
Oh, damn. Those are good, though. Those are good. I like that exploration style. Do you have
hopefully not falling into a
black
gas
hole
giant
or a gas giant?
Horribly.
No, it's more like one I remember most vividly is finding out that a long lost friend is on Mars and going over there to reconnect stuff. Like that.
Dude, that's actually cool. I've never
that's
had
a high tax reconnection right there.
Yeah, that's going to cost a bit.
Yeah, dude.
Do you have dreams, Silver? I don't hear you talk about them very much.
Yeah, but I don't. I usually don't remember them, and the ones I remember tend to be pretty boring.
Solar has a dream. He's in the podcast listening to us talk. Can you imagine how horrifying that would be? Go ahead.
I mean, that's kind of it because the dreams I remember are so boring that they're so realistic that when I wake up, I question Was this a dream, or did this conversation actually happen?
Ooh, dude, and those are.
Okay.
I've told you.
Then I have to try and sort of prod for information to
see if it's real.
Did we actually have this conversation, or did I dream this?
I told you, man. I've told you the story about my friend in school had the dream where he was dating the girl, and for 2 days, his confidence. I've never seen a turnaround in a person that much in my life until he realized he was not dating her. The dream was so real that she had said yes, and they were dating, and he was a different human because his brain was telling him he was dating her, and it was one of those times where you're like, "Oh wow, that would suck."
Yeah.
Silver, you're being asked if you have a YouTube anymore. Do you upload anything anymore?
I do actually. I've been uploading Assassin's Creed Shadows stealth playthrough there.
Silver Hawkins on YouTube. You're pretty spotty with your uploads, right?
You're better off going to Johnny or Karak though.
Well, for gameplay and sheer ability for us, but for you know,
pretty much for everything, frankly.
And most humble.
Well,
too.
you do have your infamous that challenge run for Hitman.
Yeah,
You did, right?
Yeah, he's got that. He's got a couple.
Yeah, I've done a couple there.
God of War was one, and then do you still have the infamous Kingdom Come 2 where everybody's head was missing in the village? Isn't that?
Yeah, that's still there. Yeah, I might. I've considered starting a playthrough on hardcore for Kingdom Come 2 and recording that, but we'll see.
Very cool.
But currently, I'm uploading almost daily videos from Assassin's Creed Shadows, and I have a couple that are still locked. I think I've recorded like 50, 60 videos or so that are.
Dude, I didn't know you were so actively doing videos. That's cool.
Nah, it's fine. Don't
It's
spread
fine.
it around.
The moment you follow him, he'll stop uploading, which is why I always ask.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
he'll go a year with no upload, and then he'll be like, "Well, I've got like some in the can." Wizard of Smoke said, "I dreamed the other night my dead grandmother's head was floating above me while I was lying in bed. She was speaking German. It was freaky. She was decapitated in a car wreck in 1968. Dark." Okay.
Damn.
All right.
Wow.
Well, okay.
Good.
Let's move on from that dark
Yeah.
shit.
I can tell you.
Uh-oh.
Pump the brakes on
See,
that one.
Here we go.
Like their grandma.
You primed Silver
No,
for
no.
dark stories. No, go ahead, Silver.
I mean, it is sort of, because there was a time when I had very vivid dreams, but they were tied to nightmares related to trauma I suffered in my youth, that I struggled with for a long time.
I think a
where I
lot
would
of
have
us
nightmares almost nightly, and it really, really hurt my sleeping rhythm. Until eventually it just sort of settled itself. But that was a period of years that I struggled with that, and that was tied to very deep feelings of guilt because of a death that had occurred close to me. That I needed to sort of work out.
Dreams are a good way to work shit out. I think a lot of times, a good sleep also works. Like that time when you come home, you're stressed about work or whatever, you sleep and you wake up and you're like, you're just a little bit farther away from it. And you're like, maybe that wasn't such a big deal. Or you wake up and you suddenly defeat that boss you couldn't fucking fight the night before.
So many times.
Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's always that nighttime boss that just kicks the shit out of you, and you wake up the next day and you're like, well, I'll give her a try. And you just roast them. Like you're not even touched. You're
Yep. It's like Neo in the Matrix.
Yep.
But during night.
Or he's the one having the nightmare. He's in water, and you're the enemy in the dream. You're like, haha, I got you, bitch. It's so good. What else do we got? Any other questions in there? Because I have a bunch of stuff still.
This one, we've got a couple more. 3 more. This one from Kel. Recently started a replay of Deus Ex Human Revolution.
Deus Ex.
And realized...
No.
Sorry, I just wanted to correct that.
Deus
Ex, yeah. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I just wanted to
kind
correct
of
that
sounds... I think it's
you
from
like
the
Deus?
Latin Deus.
It is.
Yeah.
But it's Deus Ex.
So...
got in the machine.
Okay. Realized it's set in the...
I'm just joking, sorry.
Damn it.
Anyway.
Pedantic fucks. All right.
Anyway, go ahead.
All right. I'll work on it, okay? It's set in the year 2027. That's less than 2 years away. What's going to be your first augmentation?
Oh, shit.
Dude, give me like amazing bionic legs. Give me a whole internal thing where I don't actually need to eat for nutrients. I can eat just for fun. It's just working. It's like clockwork. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I mean, dude, I feel like we're there in a lot of ways for some of the stuff, not the physical stuff, but like the Google, you know, you walk around with your cell phone, you can.
Yeah.
I mean, also
talking to a
incredible limb prosthetics nowadays. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, they're getting better and better. What would be? I mean, our modern world is so boring compared to like Deus Ex. Like, if you were in that world, I'd want something with like weapons. But like for me personally, do you guys ever wonder if you? How about this as an extension of the conversation? If you had the ability to, this is going to sound weird because I think everybody's going to choose to go this route, but I don't know if I will. Would you pass up the ability to type, to just think to your PC? You would still have to think the words, but sort of like Elon Musk's thing where you can, you can play a general game. If you had the ability to like look at your keyboard or the keyboard there and you're like, I'm going to type this out. Do you feel like, I sort of like the analog part of the typing.
I like the analog
way
part.
faster, so.
On typing?
Sorry,
I just want to ask this for Reg. You're saying you think you would be faster typing than...
No, I would be faster not typing, just thinking it.
Yeah, right.
Which would be a big boost.
Right. What were you saying, Silver? Sorry.
For sure it would be faster, but I think what I appreciate about the analog is that you could withhold it. So you could withhold the expression so that it isn't like an immediate thought that gets immediately put down, but then you can sort of revert. You can work it out in your mind and then express it through the keyboard.
Because that's some Black Mirror stuff, Silver. If you blurted,
rather than if it's just your thoughts going into the typer.
That's rough. If you walk into a chat room in your brain, like VR chat room, and it's blurting and you fuck that. Like, because we have weird thoughts, man, that like, and sometimes your weird thought will be killed by the good, I mean, it'll pop up, be killed. You don't even know why you thought it. If I walk into a room and it's blurting everything, no way.
Naturally, I would assume with that integration that it would still only.
You have to hit enter. You have to hit enter, Reg. No matter how fast you are, you still have to hit enter. Because
I mean, otherwise you would have the same time just editing whatever it blurted out, right? Before you sent it.
Oh my god!
Yeah, like
I have enough with one inner voice, just thinking about random stuff.
Yeah, that's
I want the opposite. I want less.
I guess for Cybernetic.
For eyes, maybe there's something there.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Because everybody's eyes get worse. It's one of the things that no matter how good physical shape you're in, your eyes. I mean, like they even state, you're pretty much everybody's guaranteed to get cataracts if they live long enough, just because of how they work, how cataracts work, and how eyes work. I won't because that part of my eye is gone. But it's like I know what it's like. So the idea of that, I would say eyes would be one. But it's like, what would you need it for? Yeah, I don't know, man. That's
augmented reality type stuff, but integrated in your eyes.
I like reality. Just saying. I really actually do. I'm pretty if I didn't, I'd be using the VR that's right here.
So you don't want like a Pepsi Cola overlaid, like ads overlaid on your reality?
I love it in movies. And I love it in games, but the idea of the general chaos that would I wouldn't like that. What about you, Johnny? You said legs for sure.
Legs would be dope. Be able to do stuff that I can't anymore because of health issues. And then I was thinking, augmented reality would be cool. I'm thinking about, how in Blade Runner 277, the recent one, he has like really compelling conversations with the chatbot, right?
Yeah.
With the
home assistant
projection one. Mm-hmm. You could have one that's not a projection; it's just in your field of view. In
that would be cool.
AR
system.
That would
be really cool.
And it's the most amazing chatbot ever, right? It's like what we have now, but on steroids. You can have amazing conversations. It knows exactly what you're interested in, and how to talk to you and be a friend, be what you need when you need it. It could be awesome for sure.
Agreed with that. What else we got?
It's
this one from
go ahead,
here
Silver.
on Biz.
Silver was going to say.
It's fascinating to me because I'm the kind of the opposite, where I don't want any augments. Even though I'm in a similar position to Johnny, where I'm mobility challenged. I have a body that's basically broken down, but I don't really want to replace it. Like I wouldn't want like prosthetics or like modifications to that extent, because to some extent I feel like, as broken as it is, it's my body still. It's still sort of me, and I would sort of be giving up, I guess, part of myself.
Definitely. And I have that too, by the way. But in my mind, the idea of being able to like
I totally
full sprint again, right? Like jump up,
I totally
go up a mountain if I want. Like that's just
absolutely.
Yeah. Insane.
What else we got?
This one from here on Biz. What's a comfortable amount of time for a gaming session for you guys? I can probably do about 2.5 hours and then I'm ready to do something else. Noting that in some instances you are reviewing games, making this choice might not be an option for you. I think that's a solid amount of time for me too. A couple, like 2-3 hours.
Yeah.
And then usually I want to, get up, right? Kind of stretch a bit, refresh.
Yeah, 2 or 3 hours is about normal before I want to get up and walk around. I mean, I'll play, I'll sit back down and I can play for marathon sessions, but 2.5 hours is a long time to be sitting. Fucking most people
still
switch
take a break.
Positions in bed more than 2.5 hours. They turn over, they roll over. It's like, it's uncomfortable after a while. So yeah, I would say 2.5 hours. Reg, do you ever purposely limit your time playing games?
No, but I very often, that's the norm, play a game for maybe half an hour. And then I'm like, okay, but I could really continue coding though.
Damn, you're okay. How about this? How long's your longest coding session, Reg?
Oh God. Well, probably workday and then another 8 hours probably on my private project. So
16
hours,
16, 18 hours.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a long. Except the only and because you work from home, that was basically signing out of one thing, signing into the other.
Yeah, I was standing off of work computer, switching rooms, continuing on my own. Yeah.
Instantly.
Damn.
Pretty much instantly, till like 3 or 4 a.m. Yeah.
What about you, Johnny? What's your longest coding day when you were coding?
I don't code outside of work, so and also at work. I'm team lead, so I do a lot of more so project management and organizing stuff too. So I'd say like programming had like deep focus work, probably like a couple hours working on something directly. Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's also maps to my amount of time that I can stay really focused on something too. And then usually I need to take a break because I notice my focus kind of wandering around.
What else do we got?
As long as I'm interested in what I'm doing, no.
Yeah, but I think that's also like an existential decision from your part to do something you're really passionate about.
Yep.
Whereas on my side, it's more I've developed some passion for it, but it's more so doing something utilitarian as a job, and I want to specifically do for fun different things. Just that's what works for me to refresh. I don't want to be all in on one.
Yeah.
Bit says his longest workday, at least that he remembers, was 36 hours.
Holy shit!
He's
what
a coder
do you do,
too.
Bro?
My longest workday was if we're talking like up at work, was definitely easily that long, if not longer, if you're just talking workday, not coding, because I don't do it that much. But
Yeah,
I had a
that's
shift
crazy,
when I
man.
drove cabs that was like 15 hours.
of doing what?
Driving a cab.
Driving a cab, I would assume, especially if there's some way to do it as long as you want without safety protocol. I don't know what the laws are. I would assume some of those guys are just doing it as long as they can because it's constant money, and you enjoy talking to people too, or hearing about people.
I mean, I
can see
think
you
I
like
picked
them.
up the cab at like 5 p.m. and I returned it at like 8 or 9 a.m.
How many bodies were on the front of that cab that you hit when you were falling asleep at the wheel?
None, I buried them. Like, I don't leave.
Just see how fast that fucking... That was like when I asked Johnny how long it would take before he ate me, and he was like 30 minutes. It's fucking... He wouldn't even be hungry in 30 minutes. All right, what else we got?
All right, last question here from Cloud Cutter. What's the most confusing game you've ever played but finished?
Oh, that's a good question. The most confusing game played but finished. There's a lot of games with mechanics I never grasped or didn't feel I did.
I think the key
Sure.
thing is that I never finished.
Yeah,
any of
it's exactly where that's why I think I'm going to have to hedge with a review game.
Yeah.
That is a good question.
Because I played Total Warhammer 2, I think. Was that the one I played with you, Silver, once? I think.
It may have been. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. And you were very kindly and patiently trying to, conduct me trying to
After
explain the game.
I can hear Silver's voice getting high, like when he was talking to Takedown that time.
It's like, God damn it, Johnny!
He's like,
I told
the
you to
dwarves
use
are
the
the
fucking
short
cavalry.
ones. The dwarves are the short ones. Johnny,
Not the cavalry.
not the cavalry.
Yeah. The game is just.
There's a lot
impregnable
going on
to
in
me.
that game.
Yeah, it's a lot going.
There is.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a game that was truly confusing that I would have continued playing. If it was that confusing, I think there would have been issues with it.
I mean, honestly, Crusader Kings probably for me.
Okay. Crusader Kings.
That's a good one.
Finish that game, even when you
when
your dynasty dies or whatever. Yeah, that would be
Crusader Kings 3 is what it was so impenetrable. At first, I did beat that, my guys, everybody died, kids of kids and stuff. But I would say, Crusader Kings 3.
Also
That's a good one.
Like Paradox games in generral, I think.
Especially when you get a Stellaris and you haven't played it for a while, and you feel like I can jump back in, and you jump in, and there's icons.
They've revamped the entire game for like
oh god,
the 7th time. Yeah.
Oh dude, yeah. Yeah, their games, they go for it, right? They're just like, we know our audience, and our audience is gonna figure it out at some point. And you turn on Stellaris and you're like, it's just icons up and down and along the bottom, and you're like, what the fuck, man? Yeah, Stellaris is definitely up there. Vapor says Death Stranding. I still don't know what the hell is going on. I finally walked away thinking, whatever, man. I love the idea of that. He walked away from the walking game. There's something so eclectic about being like, we'll just walk off.
I feel validated though, because I still to this day can't tell you like exactly what the game's about.
I think a lot of people are probably that way. Sometimes they like it. It's like Twin Peaks in a way, where a lot of times you finish Twin Peaks and you're like, okay, I think I know.
Loneliness, isolation.
Would have been nice to.
It's themes, I think, more than knowing exactly what's going on. It's like, here's a theme that you're going to get from this or that, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that game, I'm with Vapor. I walked away, gave it 2 really good tries. Well, I mean, some people might not think it's really good because it was only 9.5 hours and not the 10 hours it takes to get good.
You didn't get to the 12-hour.
I didn't get to the 11th hour where just everything comes together.
It explodes.
I mean, frankly, Death Stranding isn't any more lucid than any of Kojima's other narratives.
Well, that's what I was going to say, but I didn't want to get into that. That is exactly what I was going to say. I think that if you understand him that it's a theme and not like
it is
every detail is supposed to be a thing. Go ahead. Sorry,
cut you off.
No, that's
it was funny enough. It felt like a fever dream, like experiencing that game in the sense that in the moment it made sense. As I was playing it and I saw the cutscene, I was like, okay, yeah, I get it. It felt like it connected, made sense. And then after I was done with the game, it felt like this weird dream, just like a haze in my brain, struggling to connect the dots.
That guy really called Dead Man. Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
talk about struggling to connect the themes and
Yeah.
why this should be the tagline for Bungie. Did you guys see the marathon stuff?
Ooh.
Yes.
Yes.
So, dude.
Well,
I don't even know. It would sound like just hammering on it, but that would be the truth. But at the same time, it's not necessarily what I'm trying to do.
You're shitting on the game, Karak.
It's so strange to me. I've seen a couple games go with this slow speed and stuff like that. And, you know, you get marathon, and I don't know what I was expecting because I didn't really check the trailers out. I saw them, but I didn't. I just didn't really care about the little bits that they showed. And then you see the footage. And I mean, I don't want to compare it because I like some of these games. I saw people say it looks like a free-to-play game from Korea or whatever, like the games we used to play. But those games are getting pretty good now. So it's hard to even compare.
Yeah.
So what I saw, and the couple people I have who played it who were really unimpressed with it. To the ends of I mean, they were like, what is this? And they went to the event. It looks like a game you would expect from one of those devs, but not currently. It looked like something from about 9 years ago. And it shocks me because I don't understand how that's what we're playing. And I'll be the first to admit, not Avengers, I'm sorry, but Guardians of the Galaxy, we've seen this before. You know, you've seen these games where you're like, ooh, and then it turns out to be good. But the people who actually played it, who I trust to understand some of these idiosyncrasies of shooters and blah, 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 they legitimately couldn't make head or tails of why it was even a thing. Like, it wasn't. And by the way, whenever I hear somebody say, oh, we didn't ask for this, I don't give a fuck. I don't ask the devs for stuff. They deliver it. I'm not there to say, you need to deliver me something. Feel free to deliver it. We'll rate it on what it is. There's nothing wrong with that. That's the way it should be. When I upload a video, it doesn't mean you asked for it. It means I made it. If you fucking hate it, you hate it. That's life, right? That's sort of the way everybody works. But that game looks really bad. And I don't mean just from a looks department. I mean from a gameplay, from the offering. They even pulled if you want to play the old games, you can play the 360 version of that comment where they said this game, you know, if you want to play a PvP shooter or whatever, play Destiny. Like, it almost feels like they're throwing it out to die already. And what I saw looked like it sort of deserves that. I don't understand where that game fits even, or where they think there's a spot. And
I love
I could be wrong, for sure. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was going to say, I love the idea of taking extraction games and making it a bit more mainstream or a bit more accessible,
I'll
maybe.
give you that.
More
Yeah.
appealing to the large public. Because I do find those games very
Alienating.
alienating. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
Alienating,
Mhm.
right? Because you lose your shit continuously.
Right.
Not just if you have a bad run, but also every few months you lose everything, right? It's a full wipe. Now that's going to be the same thing there. But what I'm expecting is that there will be things to make it a bit more accessible, a bit more friendly, or maybe understandable for people who aren't as hardcore as that. So that idea appeals to me. This could be the first extraction game that I actually try myself. The problem I have is that it looks like Fortnite. And that's not to shit on Fortnite, but that look does not speak to me at all. I like some of the color stuff they got, which is like very striking, you know, flat matte colors in places, and all the big rectangular shapes on everything. I think that works as a cool, futuristic, weird aesthetic. But the way, literally, like the character models and everything looks very stylized, very, very Fortnite-y to me. And that's not speaking to me at all.
Okay, that's fair.
That's where I'm at with it.
Silver or Reg? Anything to add?
I'm only watching it now.
Reg, are you? Does this mean just never gonna touch it? Not interested.
I watched the trailers and stuff about it, and it looks so disconnected, everything, and jumbled, and completely uninteresting. I don't think they themselves know what they want to do.
Yeah, I guess in a podcast known for talking too much, it's pretty telling that there isn't
much to talk about.
Yeah, I have no clue from a visual standpoint. You know how some games, like, let's talk about a game that goes crazy. It's a Persona. Persona's got all these weird things going on. But because all these weird things are going on, it fits in the fiction that all these weird things are going on. So graffiti makes sense in a weird way in a game where this and this and this can happen. And there's matching of colors. There's matching of, you start to see the melding. I would agree with Reg that what I saw, this is the honest truth, is it almost looked like you told 10 people to throw what they were working on into something, and then and they got it to work, and that's what they showed. And I think there's been, I don't follow that company a ton, so I don't know if that's what has happened. I think there was a reboot or two, but it definitely, even Skull and Bones, I sort of looked at and was like, okay, it's a pirate game without ground. I can sort of understand. This game, I mean, I don't even, it was all over the place.
It is about nothing from what they showed.
Yeah. It's much ado about nothing, which is really, it's too bad too, because like, I don't know where Destiny's future lies. I think they're shooting, those guys obviously know they're shooting, but they've been curb stomped so bad by bad management and all that, to where Sony has stepped in and all these kind of issues and blah, blah, blah. And now they don't have a ton of people. So it's like, I don't know where Destiny 3, I'd have to ask a Moodski, because he's usually up on what's going on. But yeah, man, it looks like nothing. It looks, I'll just say this. I'll end it with this. I'd rather play Concord. And that's not being a dick. That is honest truth. I think Concord
had more coherence.
It had more coherence to it, even though it may have been bland. I could look at it and go, boom. I do understand. And that game obviously wasn't bad. This is just incoherent. Like, it's everywhere.
Yeah. And hey, maybe it's too early too, because they are still,
it's coming out
they
this
got
year.
Some months. Yeah, it's coming out this year.
Yeah, if you don't know what your game is, and you can't manage to even put a trailer together that shows what your game is,
and also there's supposed to be some narrative, but they don't have the narrative yet.
Oh, okay, that's right. Destiny now.
Yeah, that is Destiny.
Yeah. I'm a bit sad because on paper,
so am I.
It sounds great to me. Destiny level shooting, but bringing the extraction genre, like I said, maybe make it a bit more accessible.
Right.
That sounds cool to me. But what I saw, I'm just not seeing how it's going to be fun at all to have these like PvE things you're doing, which are interacting in a very shallow way with things in the scenery. Like, oh, you have to find 3 of these things, or oh, you have to, find terminals. And the idea is that while you're doing these things, you're going to come across other players and then have shootouts with them.
Yeah.
But that's just not coming together. I've seen a bunch of footage. Like, I haven't seen a single interesting emergent moment from that. And when you compare it to something like Hunt Showdown, every single run you do in that game has something like that. I've played a little bit, but I've seen it played quite a bit. And every time, you go for the boss, it's a tough decision. Do we start it, right? Do we wait around and try to bait and trap someone? It's so interesting and different every time you play.
It's a weird one, man.
And there's the tension of the constant listening. in Hunt.
Yeah, there's really good audio in that one that
Yeah.
pays off.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't really. It feels to me like whatever, maybe the reboot or whatever they had to do and where they're putting it and all the other problems have just hit it so hard. But it looks like nothing right now, you know.
Yeah. And you know, the price is also going to be tricky, because if people are on the fence, it's now much harder for you to get in and give it a try if it's going to cost whatever it is, $50.
I feel like, okay, well, let me give you what I saw. I'm being fully honest that it was just what I saw, as well as two people that I fairly trust to know what they're talking about, who I haven't released their videos yet. I don't know why, but I don't know if you could price it at a price low enough for me to buy. That's not saying that if I played it and review it, I wouldn't say it's worth waiting for sale or blah, blah, blah. I'm saying if it's just my money randomly, I can get free-to-play games that offer far, 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 far more content at a level that is not in the free-to-play echelon where there are issues, because I fully admit there are also issues with free-to-play games. They've elevated themselves, but there are still issues you see. But their gameplay minimum in a free-to-play game is very far beyond the maximum of what Marathon appears to be offering at a price. That is very hard to pull off currently, and that worries me. I think if they said this is free-to-play, or maybe they did a bunch of betas so that we could sort of see, I think there'll be streamers playing it, but I think we're now finally starting to smarten up. Over time, it still takes a while, but I think people are starting to realize that a ton of streamers, a ton of concurrent players does not at all indicate a game is good anymore. I think for a long time, you'd say somebody, Steam concurrent means this. Shadows didn't sell well because Steam concurrent, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, it obviously did sell well. Steam is not always the end all be all of something. Both sides of that.
Yeah.
That's just one example. There's thousands of examples where we see it's not a perfect, definitive way to say this game is good or this game is bad or this game is even popular. When a streamer streams something and a bunch of people leap in and then it dives, also sucks, because then the people who did get in because they think there's this overarching number of people playing, and then that shrinks when everybody moves to the next thing. I will also say with Marathon, when I look at it, move to the next thing is what it should be called instead of Marathon, because that's what it feels like. It feels like a stopgap title, like a title I would play for a day with you guys and then go, well, that's the title. The other thing that I don't really like is the shooting didn't look great. They know what they're doing with shooting, so I'm sure it feels okay. But the shooting, the guns, the art, and the movement all matter to me a ton, and they all did not look good. Especially movement matters to me. Now, admittedly, I'm an Unreal fan, but if you remove the super fast Unreal, I'm still a fan of the slower games. Even a Division or what have you, where you're still running at human speed. That game looked very slow, and the guns and the art didn't entice me. Destiny, regardless of my issues with Destiny, their gun design is awesome. Yep. You see their shit, and you're like, dude, I don't even have to shoot you. I'll just hit you with the butt of this fucking awesome looking thing. Like, this is fucking worth having just because it looks sweet. Nothing in that game looked sweet. There was not a single bit of art design in that game where I was like, that looked good. And by the way, you're talking to somebody who loves the original Tron, who loves geometric, all of the neon, the grid line, like all of that glassy neon look. That is my jam. It's my favorite art style in the world, beyond anything else, including fantasy. It did not look good. So I'm stuck there.
So it's not the aesthetic, really. It's more.
No, it is the
execution.
aesthetic, the execution, the aesthetic didn't back up the execution. Meaning, I couldn't say, "Oh, this still looks cool," like Destiny, because Destiny's execution is only in one place: the shooting.
Yeah.
Most important place, yes. But then they have the art on top of that, and so it adds up. This one didn't look like it had the shooting, and the art is sort of ugly to look at. And that, which is what you were saying with Fortnite. I don't have a problem with Fortnite's look for whatever reason. When I look at Fortnite, I'm not turned off by the graphics because I've seen cartoony. I'm turned off by the gameplay and the movement and everything else. This one, everything turned me off, which it rarely happens. You just have to see. It's too bad, man. It's too bad because I'm like, if you said, hey, we've got a Destiny style shooter coming up, I'll be one of the first people to be like, dude, that's awesome. I can't wait. And in this one, I was like, shit, man. Like, that is unappealing as humanly possible. Omar says the exotic weapons in Destiny are on another level. It's ridiculous. I mean, and if you don't like that art style, it's not ridiculous. But for the most part, they hit so many versions of sci-fi with their art style. They definitely know what they're doing when it comes to Destiny. But they're gone now, right? Because they've been cored out. I don't know what Bungie's numbers are, but they're I mean, how many times have we heard of layoffs and, you know, the teams being shrunk down? It's just sad. Alp says they have to get Marathon into the hands of players who want it and can provide valid critical feedback. Without that and building investment and core people interested is completely dead. I'm playing through Alan Wake 2 and just finished Lake House. Amazingly well done. Did you guys see Remedy's shooter? That fire. It's like where you're going to investigate the AWEs. It's like 3v3v3, I think, or something. I think somebody also posted it up here. Fire something. But Remedy's doing that shooter based in sort of the Alan Wake. Yeah. It is interesting too when you look at those art styles. I would love to see how they decided that art style. And nothing against the artist, because they can still be amazing. I just don't like their art. You guys have seen that. Like, I don't like Picasso's art. You see something, you're like, Jackson Pollock, you're like, what the fuck? Somebody else may just absolutely, you know, from an instinctual level, love it. But, yeah. Firebreak, Eternal says. Yes, Firebreak's the Remedy one, which looks pretty cool. But sorry to bring that on a dour note. But yeah, man, I'm really, it's sort of controversial almost how that game, it hit. And I'm just seeing now another video that says Marathon doesn't look to be the next big thing by Kyle Bosman. I don't know who Kyle Bosman is. Kyle Bosman sounds familiar. Wait a minute. He's from Game Trailers, isn't he? I think he's Game Trailers. Yeah. So, too bad. What else we got? Any other news?
A couple things popped up. One, Space Marine 2 has a new big patch.
Yeah.
6.0.
Yeah, with a new map.
New map and new bad guy, right? New big boss or something?
Yeah,
right.
Boss as well.
Yeah.
There's also a new area in the barge, like in the loadout area where you're getting ready. Yeah, the data vault. New PvP map, new PvE map as well. That was in a prior update, pretty sure. And then there's a new enemy called the Biovore, and this is like one of those. What were they called?
Gene Stealer, Tyranids, the big ones. Okay, that's gonna be awesome.
The Extremis, yeah, it's an Extremis level enemy. Emote system, armory data refinement, where you can get different tier of armory data. If you guys remember, this is what's required to upgrade your weapons, and you had to go to a specific mission level to get a certain tier that you might need for your upgrade. And now you can kind of exchange lower armory tiers for higher tiers as well. And other things there to exchange. There's a new PvE difficulty, Absolute. So this is above the lethal difficulty that they released some time ago as well. So,
and I also have a super chat to read.
What that is.
Shaq,
Go for it.
I missed this. $10 says, happy Friday, boys. Also great to see Reg and Silver today. You guys are who I refer. You guys are who I refer people to when someone says game news coverage is BS. Just kidding. Love you guys. That's awesome. Thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate it. Yeah, I think that one. I mean, I wouldn't call it a 2.0 like Lords of the Fallen, but it definitely has adding a lot. They're doing a good job with their content. World War Z, they did a great job with that. They're fairly good with their content. I mean, those guys know how to deliver stuff. So, and did you guys hear the little? They did the little announcement. They're working with somebody. I think it was Warner Brothers on a massive IP. Their next game. I think it was Saber who was doing another Big IP, yeah. So that'd be cool. Space
Interesting.
Marine's still fun. I jumped in about a week ago with let's see, what was it? Deathopolis and Johnny? No, it wasn't Johnny. It would have been, maybe it was a Moodski, and we did a bunch of hours of Space Marine, and
Awesome.
it continues to
You
be.
have to hit me up next time. I'll join you guys.
Yeah, dude, it was a blast, man. It was like that game is just solid fun. That and World War Z is
fun
still
game.
fun.
Yeah.
Like their games, they know what they're doing. Their games are really enjoyable. So,
A
Eternal.
few other things, some new finishers.
You got-
FOV
oh, new
sliders just
finishers?
kept it up. Yeah, for
That'd be
enemies,
nice.
by the way. So enemies have new
Did they fix
finishers.
the parry? I wonder, because isn't that the major complaint from a lot of you
Um,
guys? Is parry is or the
They have a bunch of balance
Bit didn't
changes
like the
that they're
parry.
rolling out. I
Okay.
haven't got into those.
no worries.
There's also a quick match bonus, which is nice. So now you get additional XP for doing quick match, which is nice if you're
Right.
just trying to rank
no
up
shit,
and do it quickly. Yeah.
dude. I'm gonna show how often I play with you guys versus like randoms. So if you choose to do randoms, you're gonna get a little bit more XP than if you played with your friends.
Yeah, so
I'm
it
okay
will
with
be
that.
a random map, like,
Oh, but not random people. What I'm saying
no,
is,
it
are
will
they
be random people too. Quick match is like,
right?
put me in the
But
map
that's what I'm
with
saying.
people.
It doesn't matter about the map real quick. I'm just saying it is giving you
Oh.
extra for playing with random people, was what I was asking. Is
Yeah.
that what you're, oh, dude, that's, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And then
Actually,
also random maps is what
I
you're
think-
saying. So, yeah,
I
great.
think you can still get quick match with a party, so you can still.
I think so. I
group
think
up
it's
with your
possible.
friends and then run
Yeah.
quick matches.
Because
But
I
they'll
like the
just
idea
randomize the
of
map.
rewarding somebody who's got the balls and the iron will to play with randoms. Because playing with randoms has always worked really well for me. I've never really had an issue, but your guys' stories in Discord haunt me, man. Like, you will tell me stories and I'll be like, how am I always lucky to not experience these terrifyingly bad situations with just pieces of shit people? So if you get a little extra XP for doing the randoms, and maybe somebody's new and you jump into hell, I think that's awesome. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Good
often
to
how
know.
it's usually handled by these games.
Maybe I just
To
don't
sort
play them. I haven't heard anything about the extra
Sort of
XP.
encourage the matchmaking aspect.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I think that's great. What else you got, Johnny?
The other thing I saw pop up was that
Continue. I'm going to let this dog in.
Japan. Okay. So there was a big survey that happens in Japan every year by SMBC Consumer Finance. And it was a total of 1,000 participants from 20 to 29 years old answering questions about money spent on games and stuff like that. And 19% of Japanese people in the survey say they spend so much money on gacha games that they
Gacha.
struggle to cover living expenses.
What the fuck?
20%. Yep.
Wait, say that again?
Yep.
They said that they
Well,
were
that makes sense.
they were having problems. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
they're struggling to cover living expenses because of money spent on in-game purchases.
No.
And by the way, women are a bit better at this. They are at 14%, and men are at 22%.
Nope. Checks out.
Does it?
Yeah, checks out.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
But interestingly, though, there was another question, which is, do you regret spending the money in in-game purchases?
I don't know if I want
Only
to hear this.
23.9% regret spending money. So these fuckers, so they're not getting to the end of the month because of in-game
Man.
purchases, and yet no regrets.
Wait. You said 19% struggled, right? And then 23% had
It's
regrets.
well,
Or
right, yeah. I'm just rounding up. Yeah, it's around 18.8.
but
Rounding up
then-
for all, like men
but
and
then
women.
the regrets would then cover the rate of people who.
No, I think he's saying
Oh.
then they asked the people who regretted, or they asked.
It was 23% of the people
23.
who
Mhm.
couldn't cover their expenses who regretted, or was it 23% of the entire pool of people?
Okay, they don't really explain that, so that's a fair point. If it is what you're saying, Silver, then Yeah, you're right. It's just overlap. But my understanding was that of those people, only 24% regret it.
I mean, if it's 24% of the people who are already having issues, it's bad. If it's 24% of the people who aren't having issues, it's bad. The idea, though, that you're buying so much that you can't make a bill, that is disturbing. That is that is
Yeah, I mean,
pretty crazy.
it's
Man.
gambling addiction, right? It's
well,
pretty much.
pretty much. Yeah. But I mean, it's not only that; it's the fact that like they're even answering a survey. Most gamblers I know would never answer a survey. If they would,
Maybe
they wouldn't answer.
maybe they had hit their limit already, and
Maybe they got a gotcha for answering the survey.
Yeah,
Dude, that's some Black Mirror shit. They're like, hey, if you answer a survey, you might win something. They're like, fuck it, man. Whatever, sign me up. That's sad, though. That is really sad that somebody, can't, or has had issues. I've had it one time in my life, and on me, and I was like, oh man, never again. But it wasn't micros. I'm talking about just overspending. Man, that's crazy. But they did say gotchas, right?
Yep.
You said so.
They're using it interchangeably in-game purchases and gotchas. In the headliner, they talked about gotchas, but I think it's in.
If it's Japan, it's most likely gotchas than it is like, let's say,
a lot of it will
Destiny
be
package or something, right? It's, I mean, Western
They-
games haven't hit as big there.
like I said a couple of times before as well, the gacha machines are every day there. So of course it would be the same in the video games.
Yeah,
that's
and
fucking
about
chance.
20% said they can't enjoy the game if they don't make in-game purchases.
I got a full collection of gacha items as well from there that I brought home with me.
Of course, because at that point, it's about the fix, right? It's about the rush or whatever for when you get the win, and then the
dopamine.
You get all the time. You get the.
It's pretty crazy to me that somebody states they can't enjoy a game if they don't make a micro, though. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because that's even past the gambling thing. That's like a investment and gambling. Like, that's just dark. What were you saying, Reg?
That's just that's what I mean.
Is he going to show us?
There we go.
For the right.
There's Reg's gambling addiction.
That's my gambling addiction that I brought home with me.
Okay, you hit a lot of gotchas.
I did hit a lot of gotchas.
Wow.
We had a couple days where we only went to gacha machines throughout the city.
Oh, damn.
Man.
So, yeah.
On the other hand,
that's such
not to out Reg financially is not going to be hurt by his trip nor the gotchas he purchased. I think the big difference is that these are people who can't buy their little tiny itsy bitsy baby little bowl of top ramen that they barely serve because they bought a gacha. To me, that's pretty dark.
Also, the big difference between the gaming gacha and the actual gacha is you always get a figurine out of the actual gacha.
And if you wanted, you could sell it. I mean, if you wanted.
Yeah, or trade it, etc. Yeah.
Damn. Well, so any other, I love surveys and stuff like this. The market data. Was there anything else on that one? Or was that mostly just
that's about it. Yeah.
I guess
the average monthly spending, it says, dropped to $35.
Really?
Okay.
Or from $35 in 2024 to $29 in 2025.
Interesting. I guess I'm happy a game hasn't caught me like that. I'll just always be on the lookout for it, but nothing's ever.
Good. Right. But the best real life example I know is someone who won a court case and then spent all of the winnings, all of the money on World of Tanks.
God.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do know someone like that personally myself.
Oh,
okay,
man,
but that person regrets it 100%.
No,
right? No,
they don't.
It was his game. He didn't care.
Wow.
And the thing is I think gambling's obviously a thing, but I think a lot of people use gambling as an excuse, and it's like there's a collectible like Reg has. Collecting, by the way, can be different than gambling. We know that, especially if you're imbibing and you're able to sell those items, maybe even on purpose. You're collecting 12 so you can sell them which I have friends who do that. But what saddens me is just simply the only one about not being able to, you've had difficulty making your electricity payment or whatever. That is because people really I hate the comparison of, well, other people have a problem, because I saw people getting on, somebody was bitching about Katy Perry getting on a rocket. She should be doing other stuff with her money. I'm like, shut the fuck up, man. Like, are we just going to hate everybody? If somebody wants to do that, they want to do it. It's whatever. But at the same time, if she couldn't make her bills, then I'd be like, all right, well, you should probably be a little bit more, you can't gamble if you don't have a home. Well, you can, but you know what I mean? Like your home is pretty important to have a place to return to.
Gambling can very quickly become a reason you don't have a home.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying is like, if these people are filling out this form, I wish that when they were filling that form out, they were like, the only way to fill this form out is you have to talk to a fucking gambling therapist. We'll let you you might win something. They do like everything. You might win something if you fill this out, but for sure you have to talk to a gambling therapist. Yeah, that's weird, man.
It certainly points to addictive tendencies, right? Sadly.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Hong Kong is apparently there's also something.
Sorry, guys, I have to be right back.
No worries. What were you saying, Reg?
Apparently 300,000 gacha players there, and 25% of them have high risk of problem gambling.
Damn.
Yeah.
Did you guys?
That's 30%. That's nearly 100,000 people then.
Yeah. 30% of gacha players were students with no income or less than $640 income monthly, spending between $256 and $1,280 per month on gacha.
That's
in the first quarter of 2019, 70% of reported gambling cases in Hong Kong were linked to uncontrollable gacha purchases.
You mean like the person just emptied their bank account or something?
Yeah,
like uncontrollable. Yeah, that's too bad. I get it. I know not all of this is gambling, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe maybe you should have. Yeah, no, I don't like social credit scores either. But I was saying maybe there should be a thing in there where gacha systems turn off. It checks your account and it's like you have less than blah blah blah. You're like an anti-gambling system where it's like you don't have any money left. You barely have any money left in your account. What'd you say?
For how much you can?
Yeah.
Caps for how much you can throw in a day, in a 24-hour span, or
especially if they're tracking it this closely. But I mean, everybody knows it's an issue outside of gaming too. I mean, gambling itself. I mean,
yeah.
The thing about gambling is, I think everybody's got a drive, but it pops up.
I mean, online betting alone. I mean, you have gacha in Asia, but in the West in particular, it's online betting and gambling sites.
But I'm saying if you ignore what's considered gambling, I think everybody feels that because it is a chemical drive. It's like I mean, in all honesty, do I fill it when I consistently try to install something to see if it'll work? Is there like the enjoyment of getting something to work that you don't think will? I mean, I definitely gamble with my time, and time is money, but I'm definitely not losing my house because of it. Man, that sucks. T Monk says we could have stopped this at Horse Armor. No, we couldn't, because Horse Armor wasn't the first one. Yeah, that's what I love is dude, Horse Armor was not the first one, not even close.
I mean, I have a couple of Sims expansion packs from before Oblivion.
Oh god, the Sims.
Oh, the Sims. And you know what's funny is the Sims is so weird because I get a ton out of it.
Here's a new pajamas.
But then I see exactly. And not only that,
$20.
Not only that silver, but it's like you've got the DLC, right? Which is an expansion with all the stuff. And that's what I usually get is like the full activities. But I always forget that there are what you just said. It's like, well, you get this bracelet.
Just like a set of pajamas and something else, or
And then you have to look at the same thing with the train simulator games or whatever. It's like, is it DLC? Is it Well, I guess gambling, the one thing about gacha is you don't know what you're going to get. I guess the nice thing about the micros that I deal with, or the purchases I deal with, I know what I'm getting because I can see it. You know, that's one positive about being where I am, is you have to be able to see it. I think you guys in Europe have to be able to see it, right? And that's a part of the rule.
No.
Well, it depends. I mean, loot boxes don't.
Oh, yeah. See, I've always been confused by the loot box being okay now, when I still look at it going, I don't quite understand. I feel like this is still absolutely the exact same thing, but they somehow got through a loophole and now it's fine.
Yep.
But gacha in particular always confused me. But then somebody in our Discord explained it to me, and somewhat well, but I still feel like it was. SBZ says the Dead or Alive $100 costume packs. Again, you're seeing what you're getting in those. I'm not saying it's good, but the gacha stuff in particular being like randomized, and then collections like Reg had, because Reg had like the 6 guys with it looks like mushroom dudes or something you had on your list. I'm assuming each one of those is different, right? Slightly.
Yeah.
So
the gacha machines usually work like you have a picture on front of every machine, so you know what kind of figurines are in there in the full set, and the full set is usually 5 figurines.
It's 5 figurines,
and then you throw in your $1 or $2 depending on the gacha machine, and then you get the capsule and you see if you.
And I think you told me some of them also have a guaranteed. Something about a guaranteed payout, or a guaranteed, like you couldn't go a certain amount of pulls without for sure or was that gacha, or are we talking maybe about a video game?
Very unlikely, because they're pretty evenly mixed.
Okay, gotcha. So overall, if you want those 5, what are you purchasing?
And usually 20? The gacha places I've seen, if you just don't want to do that and you want to get the whole set, you can
buy the items.
The place usually just sells you the whole set.
Yeah, so there you go, right there. That's even worse. It's like, oh, you can buy them, and people are like, nah, I'd rather gamble. Like, all right.
Yeah.
Or I'd rather take my shot. There's dopamine kind of situation going on there. Also, I posted real quick, back to Skyrim for a second. I posted that I was pretty excited about seeing the Skyrim remake. One of the first posts I got was Oblivion. Sorry. One of the first posts I got was, oh, it's probably just to stop the Sky Oblivion guys from releasing their mod. And I was like, is this the level of intelligence we're really dealing with right now? Do you really think that thing was on a fucking PDF from like 6 years ago? Like, dude, I don't know, man. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like the people that I'm talking to on Twitter are the people who are reporting 29% unhappiness because they're living in a fucking box. Their old Labo box they built for their Nintendo VR. What else do we got, Johnny? Any news?
That's it from my side. I did think it was interesting, the Lords of the Fallen update, where you can play the game fully in co-op. That's pretty cool. I wish we saw that more with these Souls
cross
games.
Save too, right? From what I read, everybody's whatever you're playing, you both get the saves.
Cross progression, everything.
So it's free. Somebody else has it. It's free. It's some type of Game Pass thing.
Yeah, it's Friend Pass, exactly.
Friend Pass. Yeah.
Which is cool. Love seeing that become more of a thing. I do wonder if it's just me, but the idea of having a friend that has the level of commitment to go through a game like that with you. I'm not going to say I have wet dreams with that, because that's going to sound completely inappropriate. But the idea of having a friend who would commit to the journey of like playing a full Souls game in co-op, and wouldn't just like at some point ditch you halfway because they got busy with something else, or life got in the way. It just boggles my mind.
I'd go on that journey with you, Johnny.
Okay. All right.
Best friends for life.
Best friends
there
forever.
You go.
All right.
I would say that it is difficult because
it's hard.
There's so many offerings. So like when I'm reviewing a game, I usually have to tell whoever I'm playing with that I need a particular segment of their time for whatever. And even that's been difficult in the past because there's just so many offerings out there. And the same thing happens with RPGs or tabletop games, where if you have a game that goes on for a period of time, people start, dropping off or whatever. I have the same problem, man. The exact same problem, where I'll get a plan.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, okay, man, let's game. And the best bet is to take advantage of the energy when it's there, and then never plan on it ever being there again. And if it is, consider that a blessing in a weird. That's how I do it. If I can talk my friends
that's
into
a
doing
good
something,
attitude.
And then once they're gone, I'm like, okay, that was awesome, but that may be it for that particular thing, and you feel really excited when you find somebody who does like it as much as you. That's even better. Yeah,
those are the awesome moments where, like, both or all people involved have the same level of excitement for the thing, and
that's why you never game with Takedown for very long, because like Takedown is very for people who don't watch the podcast, Takedown is a friend of ours who comes on sometimes do the podcast, plays a lot of games with us, but he's very fiery, and he'll fire you up. It'll be 3 a.m. and it'll be like, dude, did you see this game? Did you see this game? Did you see this game? But you have to know that that's only going to last until he can say, did you see this game? Did you see this game? Did you see this game, for the next game and the next game? And it's hard to find somebody who has that same energy for the same game. It's very hard. And if they do, they a lot of times are World of Tanks kind of people, which are the people you don't want to talk to for longer than like 12 to 13 seconds because you're worried they're touching themselves. Sorry, any World of Tanks fans. I'm just joking. But you know what I mean, where they get really into it and you're trying to enjoy it. And
really
they're like, well, that's actually an 18.8% drop. And I'm just like, I'm done. I'm out. I'm out. Like if I hear people, start talking about it in that way. Yeah, it's difficult, Johnny. I don't. Wet Dream was weird. I mean, I'm gonna fully admit you should be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You should be uncomfortable and you should feel shamed for saying that. But no, I'm just joking. You're right. You like League of Legends. Do you have a person who plays League of Legends with you all the time? It's mostly you, right?
Sometimes we have a small group of friends that we play together, but the ranked experience is very much a single player experience for me, because I go in and if I'm going to play ranked, I want to be just me impacting.
So that is you
want to have
putting that restriction on for that particular thing. Okay.
Yeah, because there are all kinds of things that happen when you play with a friend. For example, you will go for a play that is bad, but your friend is in there and they're asking for your help. There's a very good chance you're going to buy into a bad play.
Oh, yeah.
To help out your friend. And that's just not the competitive experience that you would want, at least that I would want. If I'm in there, I want the result to be mostly dependent just on me and my own decisions.
Yeah. What were you saying, Silver?
I think I've been very fortunate in that, like, for most of my gaming life, I've been playing with
Lemon.
childhood friend Lemon Streak, where we've been able to sort of hold that together consistently through like 30 years now, really, just about, of playing through games together and stuff. And it helps, obviously, that neither of us have kids, so we don't have time commitments in that way that take us away and make us able to play in the evening, and commit in that way to like playing through Baldur's Gate and other like huge commitments together, where that does feel rewarding.
Did you actually play through Baldur's Gate together? Like,
we haven't actually finished it. We got to like the final act and stopped there eventually.
I mean, that's already.
We poured in a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. Awesome, man.
And we played through. I helped him through most of Elden Ring as well, and a bunch of other huge games that we've played through. And we played multiple like MMORPGs together as well, and like City of Heroes and stuff.
That's really cool. I still remember when we played EDF, and you were shitting on Lemon for using the airstrikes on top of us and stuff.
Yeah. He has a habit
funny
of doing
moments.
that in EDF. Yeah, friendly fire. But I mean, it's part that's part of fighting the aliens.
Airstrike time.
Indiscriminate. Yeah.
I guess the best luck
Right.
you can have is if you find a couple people, some people who like one game and they stick to it, and you can bounce back, and then the other people who bounce. Like that's why I've been happy with the Discord, because I've found people in there I would have never returned to a certain games, and somebody's playing it. And I'll be like, oh, okay, well, we'll jump into that. And last weekend we played a bunch of Sniper and a bunch of Elite, which I've beaten, and I don't usually have time, but I've been like, well, I'll set aside time if somebody actually, because if you set aside time, I mean, time is money, even if it's rest time. So if you're like, I'm going to put aside rest time and just doing nothing time to hang out with the guys and play a game, it's really cool when you get those people who want to jump in. But a lot of, I mean, I get the no kids thing. I think that's a huge deal. So so marriage can be a huge deal, but I also think that a lot of people use it as a crutch. And so you'll get that too, where they'll be like, well, I got to, you know, maybe I can do something. It's like, would you just plan it? Like, could you plan something? Because I would say the majority of my friends are bad at planning. Cadiz is not. He'll plan. You can get him to plan almost anything. But most of my friends, if I try to plan something, it's very difficult to get them to plan. Even though the situation may be really enjoyable when we get into it, it's just difficult, you know, for them to put their foot down on a specific time. And I'll be like, when do you wake up in the morning? I don't know. Which is alien to me, that somebody doesn't know when they're going to wake up. Like, to me, that's
no. I'm like you too. I do it even for my own time. I say,
so do I.
You know,
I have a schedule.
I'm allocating this time to play AC Shadows. You know, like it's.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I know, because you've let me down multiple times. I'm just joking. You haven't let me down. But I've been jumping into voice chat. You'll be playing, and I'll be like, oh, getting, you know, fucking sitting back, getting my food ready to watch you. And you'll be like, all right, guys. Sorry, guys. And I'll be like, wait, Johnny, what the fuck? It's like, but I always forget what time it is for you. But it's like, just when I get, I think dinner time is probably your bedtime. My dinner time is probably generally around your bedtime. But I can't tell you the countless times you've been playing Shadows and I've leapt in and been like, okay, man.
It's just getting good, but
this will be fun.
My dinner
I'll
time.
just watch.
I gotta go.
And then Void popped in a couple days ago, and he's like 3 a.m. He'll stay up till 3 a.m. So it's like I can jump off, but he's playing something depressive like The Last of Us, which weirdly enough is just as depressive watching it as it is playing it. So it's just like he's having a good time dying. I'm like, you know, I'll put it on the side, but I don't want to watch it. You know, Shadows I can watch. It's also great to have that kind of experience. You can jump on Twitch and stuff like that. But yeah, man, friends are difficult, and getting plans together has always been difficult. I know Silver's always had Lemon, which is nice. I think almost all of us have that one friend who will, you know, try to put time away, but as they get older, get married, have kids.
It depends on the game
switch
too.
Jobs, switch locations. And it depends on the game. Yeah, if they don't like the game, you know, it'll happen where they don't.
Because what
like
I was
the game.
saying, the Souls thing is also kind of niche. So, you know, Reg might be down for some stuff, but that's a hard no for.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and the moment you mentioned that it was like Lords of the Fallen, I was like, okay, great for those people who like that, but I'm not going to jump in. Yeah, it's difficult, man. It's always been difficult. Board games are just as, I mean, everything in life, I think, is that way. Because I have friends who used to do I guess you'd call it pool night, because he had a pool table. And you just see people dropping off. It would start with 7 going every weekend, and then somebody get married or somebody move, you know, and it just peters away. And if you don't actively work on socializing, it can be quite difficult to start back up. That's something we do deal with in the chat, where somebody will say, I don't know anybody, or blah, blah, blah. And then Penty, who certainly talks about this openly, so this isn't talking on the podcast, but he's got a really good attitude. He will just go out. He'll go to he goes to Runners Club because he runs. And then he'll just find likewise people who like other stuff he likes, so that there's always a grab bag. There's always somebody available, which I think is the best way. What'd you say, bud?
A network.
Yeah, and you have to. Yeah, dude, because I do have some friends who do not have a network. Like when I call them, have you been doing anything? No. Be like, at all? No, I've just been playing Gears of War for the last 6 months. I'm like, oh, so who do you play with? Nobody. It's just me solo. Dude, we need to do stuff. Like, you need to come over. Like, because I think that's healthy to at least get out once in a while. Put your pants on, you know. Pentagon says, I got mentioned.
Creatures at the end of the day.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a big deal. What else do we got?
Is
that about it?
I think that's about it.
let's wrap it up with real life shit. Anybody got anything cool going on? Anything amazing? Reg, you got your next plan for Japan or another trip? You going somewhere else?
No plans so far.
No, anywhere you want to go prior to Japan?
No.
Not really. What about
Nope.
Does
More Japan.
Stonehenge interest you, or castles in Ireland or Scotland?
I mean, we got
or
enough
England?
castles here.
Oh,
so no.
true. Yeah, you live in a land. It's just outside. Because you show me a picture and there's a fucking
I know,
castle.
I
There's a
literally-
turret.
we,
Yeah,
we drive like half an hour to where the castle is.
there's a
from.
guy in armor looking down through the picture. I'm like, all right, well, you got a better place than me. What about Johnny or Silver? You guys got any plans for any trips or doing anything cool? Any traveling? Any exploring the real world?
I think probably if I am gonna get the Switch 2, that probably puts a hold on like traveling for the summer
Because of the cost.
in terms of my budget. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's probably where that budget is going to be allocated instead.
Yeah, I feel that for sure. What about you, Johnny?
My parents just moved house, so I'll probably come over and hang out with them over the weekend. I was helping them out a little bit.
Your mom and her husband, or your dad and his wife?
Yeah,
Your mom and her husband?
mom and dad. Yeah, they're technically separated, but live together.
Wait, what? Oh, it is your mom and dad. Okay, because I know they were
It is my
separated.
mom and
Okay,
dad.
so but they found a place in London and they're close.
Yeah, they live together. They get along well, like as
That's
friends, I
crazy.
guess.
Yeah.
You would say. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty.
Maybe some
Weird
benefits in
setup.
there. Maybe some plumbing being done
But-
on the weekend, but
It's my mom and dad you're talking about, man.
Well,
No-
they can
no
role play.
plumbing.
They
No
can role
plumbing.
play. Let me set an image in your brain real quick, Johnny.
No,
You show up an hour
Mario.
early. Your Uber shows up early. You forget
Aw.
to knock.
You let yourself in with your own key.
You let yourself in with your own key. Now, does anybody have a ball gag? I'm just joking. That's
We'll
pretty cool.
turn
Okay.
around and have a fake mustache on.
Good
my God,
reminder.
like Mario.
Oh. Good reminder to
One
not
of them
use
is
my key.
Peach.
Yeah, good reminder to not use always knock.
Excellent.
Dude, you know it's funny
Make
because
sure.
yeah, you got to make sure. I remember when I moved out, I was coming home every weekend and then stopped over time. You know, you get accustomed to living on your own, but it took me a while. I was still going home every weekend and it was an hour and a half drive. And then one time I didn't. And I showed up, I knocked on the door. Like, wasn't going to let myself, but I knocked on the door, walked in, and my mom and dad were joking because they were both sitting on the couches. But my mom was like, hey, you got to watch out, you know, with just knocking and then walking in. And I was like, oh, you know what? Yeah, that's true. I don't live here anymore. Like, people do their shit. Most likely ball gags in Johnny's parents' case. Just joking. Tell your parents hello for me.
No ball gags. No ball
What about
gags.
a furry tail with an anal plug?
Oh my.
When
Kitty ears.
do you think he goes, kitty, kitty, kitty? Do they like cats?
Okay, no.
Okay, sorry.
Okay,
Johnny,
no.
as
Not
we
like
says,
that.
Johnny regrets
Okay,
everything.
then, no cats. Okay, then the pup mask.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah. Masks like in Persona, like eyes wide shut shit going on at your house. I'm just saying.
You see
they
the
do-
doggy bowl with the dad's name on it. or
Oh
something.
my
do
God.
have a new kitten.
What'd you say, Johnny?
They do have a new kitten.
Uh-oh. Just saying, man.
Yeah.
You never know what's going on.
Good.
I'll-
Thanks for that.
All people are whores
Mental.
behind
Oh,
closed
many
doors.
times.
But
Always happy to provide
Great.
more.
yeah, always happy to scar your life. So that's where you're going this weekend, though. You're going over to visit
Okay.
them. You help
Yeah.
them move. Did they
And then
move away? Did they move into a place that's farther away to be cheaper? Because I know you had said housing is getting ridiculous where you live.
it's in the same area,
Same
and
area.
it's close to the lake, which is nice. So they can walk to the lake park.
Is it a
and
park
stuff.
lake? Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
They don't
pretty
have
nice.
like their own lake or anything with a little boat.
Nah.
You know,
No, it's
Okay.
it's
so they can go in the
Park.
center. He can pretend to
Ducks
be a French
stuff.
rowist, and they can wear their ball gags.
yeah.
Praying my headphones don't die at work right now, Jimbo Tron says. No, that's very cool that they get along. Because like I know some friends who have, you know, the old parents where they can't be in the same room, the ex-parents.
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff. It's awesome that yours get along. I think time also works. You know, you'll hear about those the bad divorce, and then 5 years later they're sort of like goofing around, and then you know,
Yeah, no,
suddenly
absolutely.
Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner taking each other's kids to fucking events and shit. So who knows? Just like I said, knock twice. and then give them a
Knock
moment.
twice.
You got to give them a moment to wipe the lube off. You got to knock, pause.
Yeah. And go with headphones.
Go with
to
headphones.
Make sure
so you
you're
can't
not
hear
hearing any.
Anyway.
Yeah.
For us next week, you will see a review. Next week, early week, you'll see a preview or impressions video next week, early week. I'm saying early week because I don't know the exact days of those embargoes, but they are, I think, after Monday. And then we'll be jumping into review season. Got a bunch of stuff coming up. Patrons should look forward to a couple BTS podcasts. Almost said videos, but that was going to go bad because of the current discussion. But a couple behind the scenes podcasts. Yeah, we're going to be doing more of those. If you guys like these videos, I would love for you to give it a thumbs up when we get done with this, because it does help. And it would really help if you leave a comment on the video before we go, even if it's like everybody just, matter of fact, everybody go into chat once this is done, or go into the comments and say something like, say hello to Johnny's parents for me, or something like that in the comments.
Or leave your favorite emoji.
I would say, no, I would say, definitely say something about Johnny's parents. I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
Hi, Mom.
And
hi, Dad.
If your mom and dad are watching this podcast, they know what's up. What, last thing, what are you streaming tomorrow? Or are you streaming tomorrow, Johnny?
I'm not sure yet, but I have picked up a new FMV game that I want to play through this weekend.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's called The Isle Tide Hotel.
Never heard of that one. Is it from the same
same
Contradiction guys?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, the Contradiction guys.
What's it called, please?
You know, the Night Shift. This one is called The Isle Tide Hotel.
Okay, found it. Thank you very much. I'll be getting that too.
So yeah, I'll check it out. I like those games. I played Night Shift. I want to say it. I think it's called. That was good. Really enjoyed it.
The Bunker's good. If you haven't played The Bunker, there's The Bunker.
I've played that one too.
Okay, The Bunker and a sequel, good. I think. Yeah, those guys know what they're doing when it comes to the FMV stuff. They're like the masters at that shit. That'll be it for us. I hope you guys all have an incredible weekend. Thanks again for Red showing up. Thanks to Silver. Thanks to Johnny. Peace out, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your weekend or week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.